I drove my rusty pickup to the local game store door. Starfield gleamed upon the shelf, couldn't wait no more. Todd Howard spun his stories of galaxies afar, but when I fired up that game, I didn't get too far. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your little lies. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me feeling like just another fool. They boasted endless planets, each one unique and new. But after planet number 3, I'd felt deja vu. The critics didn't love it, gave it mediocre scores. Just another space misfire, echoed across the board. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your little lies. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. Epic battles, but the AI wouldn't fight. Characters were wooden and the dialogue was trite. Todd promised me the cosmos, but left me in the dust. Now I'm trading in this game, it's betrayed my trust. Oh, Todd, you weaved a fable of worlds beyond compare, but all I got were glitches and load screens everywhere. Still, somehow I'm considering when the next game's nigh, 'cause hope's a stubborn thing, and I'll give it one more try. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your sweet little lies. I fell for all your deceptions, like I always do. Todd left me sat here, wishing the things he said were true.
Just let it go. There's a heist in the making, but who's keeping score? A live service dream they built before. A treasure worth stealing, but hearts are so cold. They're digging for gold in a market that's old. Fair games, it'll change the world, but we've heard it before. It's all been unfurled, from Concorde's collapse to the squad disgrace. Another live service, another rat race. So just let it go. Don't build this high. A castle of servers crumbles with time. Stealing from the rich, oh what a thrill. To give to the richer and foot the bill. Once we played heroes with tales to unfold. Now it's battle passes and skins to be sold. We don't need no lobbies or daily quests. Just give us a game that lets us rest. The Justice League's dead before it took flight. Fair Games feels like it's chasing that plight. We'll always remember your golden days when storytelling shone in the PlayStation race. So just let it go. Don't build this high. A castle of servers crumbles with time. Stealing from the rich, oh what a thrill. To give to the richer and foot the bill. Oh no, rest of us. Wasting money and work, no trust. Burning billions and blaming the boys. Herman don't care, he'll just go back to alloy. Fair games, it's just not your day. Leave lip service to those who've lost their way. Sony, we're begging, just let it go. The world's had enough of this shallow show. Just let it go. Don't build this high. A castle of dreams should reach the sky. Stealing from the rich. Oh, what a thrill to give to the richer and foot the bill.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I'm back. We're vibing. As you can probably tell from my voice, I'm a little sick. Just a little. But we still have stuff to talk about. So we're going to talk about it. I'm not going to force like a 4-hour, 5-hour stream because obviously I don't want to like lose my voice. But yeah, that's why my voice sounds like this, just as a heads up. So once I start feeling my like voice giving out, then we'll probably call it. Just a heads up. Just a heads up. Yesterday I woke up and my voice was like 3 octaves lower. It was a little scary. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm fighting off, but something. My throat's not happy. Which is weird because it normally is, you know. Normally it's exuberant. I'm back.
Neared Rage donated 20 Bulgarian levs through Super Chat.
Thank you.
50 hours into AC Shadows. Emo their best RPG so far. It feels like Odyssey and Ghost of Tsushima.
It's definitely a lot slower paced, which I think they took the nod from Ghost of Tsushima. I think that's where they took the nod from. Because they cut out a lot of the like more chaotic busy work stuff, like the drinking mini games, that Valhalla had, the river raids, all of that stuff they cut out. In my opinion, I don't think it's as good of a narrative RPG as Odyssey, which is not a shock because the lady that like wrote and directed Odyssey's narrative and RPG stuff left. So it's not that shocking that it feels way different, but I'm glad you're liking it, my friend. I'm glad you're liking it. Let's see. Embo, thank you for that membership. Beard Machine, thank you for that sub over on Twitch. Thank you, my friends. Thank you. AC Shadows broke Luke. It broke me. We'll talk a little bit about it. I mean, there are some interesting tidbits and there's some information that we can talk about. People are trying to figure out like how this performed, how the game has been performing, and are not really sure. And so they've taken to just like extrapolating data and then trying to figure out this or that. What I can say is pretty much in line with what other people have said. It seems like it's performing right about where people expected it to based on pre-order numbers. If not outperforming where they expected it to be, which I guess we can lead into this real quick. News segment. So in light of the news of AC Shadows launch numbers being at least on their face fairly good, for example, the official Assassin's Creed X page posted on the 22nd that they, on the second day of the game's launch, or I guess third because it's 20th, 21st, 22nd, but whatever. They had 2 million players. Now, as always, word choice is important. They say players, not copies sold, which is to be expected. They also have the Ubisoft Plus thing where you can sign up for like $18 a month and then you can play the game, or like their whole first party catalog. You can just play whatever game you want. Honestly, if you like AC, it's not a bad value. You play AC Shadows, you then boot up like AC Black Flag, all of it's included, which is cool. All of the DLC as well, I think. Maybe not. I'm not totally certain, but either way, there's some players certainly playing through there. They gave out a lot of codes. They sent out giveaway codes. They've done a lot of stuff like that. So they haven't necessarily sold 2 million copies, at least when they posted this, but they said they had 2 million players, which not a bad stat. I mean, definitely better than a million, better than if they said nothing at all. So they're proud of that. I've spoken to people that work at Ubisoft who have said that senior leadership, or at least their bosses, are pleased with the numbers that they're seeing. And that jives with the fact that they're disclosing it, because typically when a company is not thrilled with player numbers, they just don't talk about them. They get really quiet, kind of cagey and weird. And they're like, we're glad to see players so engaged. And they don't really mention anything specific. So they're at least coming out and saying that. Tom Henderson did a little collection of behind the scenes data. He said, had to remove the original Valhalla Shadows tweet because of the sourcing of the Valhalla information. Basically, he tried to compare player numbers, but the numbers he was giving weren't like the most reliable. So he redid it and came out with this behind the scenes data via Ubisoft sources. So these are from people within the company who are leaking the raw stats, who have previously leaked data when it didn't look good for Ubisoft, such as information about the underperformance of Star Wars Outlaws, Avatar. So these are the same sources he's brought up before that shared bad info that didn't make Ubisoft look good. And these people are the same ones that are saying this. Valhalla day one player numbers, 2.55 million. This is kind of the bar. Valhalla was the most performative, I guess, game in the AC franchise's history. It's the billion-dollar game. Whether it sold and moved the most individual number of copies isn't really clear, but it did make the most money of any game they've ever put out in the franchise. So Valhalla is like the bar. Now, I've said since like 6 months ago, a year ago, I don't see a way that Shadows could possibly outperform Valhalla. Valhalla was like lightning in a bottle. It was a Viking game at a time when Viking stuff was like peak. It launched like right in the midst of COVID, so people were stuck at home more often. It really was like the perfect game at the perfect time if you just wanted a massive escapist fantasy game. It kind of served that purpose, and it did very, very well. So I don't think anybody was expecting it to outperform Valhalla. So establishing day one player numbers at 2.55 million. Again, this is players, not copies. Okay, players. That's the verbiage that's being used. Odyssey day one was at 430,000 on day one. 430,000 players. Same verbiage. Okay, Odyssey was a slow burn game, and prior to Shadows' launch, what was expected was that Shadows was going to do roughly what Odyssey did, because pre-order numbers were, I think the verbiage they used was roughly in line with Odyssey. So everybody kind of was expecting that Shadows would have similar player counts to what Odyssey did, and that it probably would sell better in the long term as time went on, but it would just be a matter of, you know, how word of mouth goes and all of that. That's kind of make or break for these types of games. But all we know right now for sure is that on day two, according to Ubisoft inside sources, they had hit 2.2 million players on day two. Now, they don't have the day one player numbers from these sources, but they have day two player numbers. And that means that according to current tracked stat trajectories, whatever, internally at Ubisoft, Shadows is expected to do about 6 million players in the first month, with Valhalla having done 8, which is like way better than I think anybody was expecting. Now, what you're seeing now is some people that are insistent that Shadows cannot have done well, and so they're trying to find things to tear apart and poke holes in, which absolutely some of these players are on Ubisoft Connect Plus, whatever they call it. That's true. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them are playing the game. Shadows also has the highest peak concurrent player count of any AC game on Steam, which also is significant and is considered a W within Ubisoft. And so no matter which way you break it, it's doing better than I think a lot of people expected it to do. I think at the very least we can say that, and it is categorically not the like colossal flop that I think some people thought it would be. You don't have to like the game. You don't have to love it. You don't have to do it. Like, that's fine. But the numbers are pretty clear. It's performing well. It's performing well. You know, is it enough to like prevent some sort of corporate shuffling? I personally don't think so. I think that's been written in the stars for like a year or two now. So I think there still will be some corporate shakeup. But you know, this probably delays that a good bit, and it means that AC is going to continue to be doubled down on. I think this just gives them more confidence in Hexe, in the Black Flag remake, and it certainly gives a lot of morale to the team that, I mean, I can only imagine what it must have been like to work on that team over the last year. Like, can you imagine basically having the entire company's fate on your shoulders? And there's been people, do I have the tweet pinned? I don't know if I do. There was a tweet that was going around of somebody just being like, shout out to the team that worked on it because they endured a lot to get here. And they did. Some of it was self-inflicted, certainly, but I mean, either way, they managed to put out a game that people are connecting with and playing, and that deserves some credit. I think what you're also seeing now is that there's a faction of people online that are now trying to find anything that they can latch onto to complain about with Shadows or to say that Shadows is bad. I've seen people that have set the game onto the easiest difficulty and then complain that the AI isn't responding quickly or isn't reacting to their behaviors quickly, which is pretty funny and a little bit pathetic. Because like when you're trying to farm outrage content by like messing with in-game accessibility settings, like I think we're getting a little silly. There's also been people that are like, you know, they have one specific bug that happens and then that clip gets shared across the internet as if that's what the game is. And so you just got to be cautious with that. Now, the newest thing is that there's people complaining. I don't know Stuttering Craig, to be just completely transparent. All I know from Stuttering Craig is that he did that breakdown on DSP like 2 years ago, which was goated. So Pog to Craig for that. But I don't know any of his other stuff. But he posted this tweet. Here it is, all 2 hours of Assassin's Creed Shadows credits. I just want to repeat that the credits are over 2 hours. I don't know if he's complaining about it, but this started getting shared on social media of people complaining that like the credits are long, therefore it's a sign of mismanagement and of corporate boondoggling. I don't even know what the accusation really is. But it started getting shared around and people were saying like, just another example of how terrible this is. Look at a game like Disco Elysium made by 20 people. Therefore, this is bad. Like, I don't even know what the accusation is. And I mean, Katie replies, I mean, yeah, that's what it takes to make a AAA game. Programmers, art, animation, localization, audio, VAS, modeling, marketing, PR, QA, legal, consultants, design, VFX, writing, PMs, TAMs, vendors, partner agencies, and more. I'm happy to see credit lists like this, big credit lists like this. And the other thing is a lot of game developers, they don't put partners into credits. They don't put in contracted employees in the credits. Dell mentioned this where he said most AAA games would have 2 hour credits if they actually credited everyone fairly. This is a huge scandal within like the dev community, is that people will work on a game for 6 months, a year, whatever, on like a contracted basis. Maybe they help with the combat. Maybe they help with character designs, concept art, or music, whatever it is. And if they don't hit a certain like standard, they're not included in the credits, which doesn't sound like a big deal. But if that means that you can't put it on your resume, that's a big deal. If you're like, hey, I did some of the music for Red Dead 2. And then like, oh, but you were only there for 9 months, so you don't get to be put in the credits. That sucks. Like, that really sucks. So that's part of the reason that like these credits are so freakishly long, is because they seem to be including everybody that touched this game in some you know, to some extent, which I think is a good thing. You know, when you start complaining that the credits are long and that too many people built something, like, I think we're starting to really grasp at straws. You know, I just, yeah. And who cares? I mean, that's the thing. You can skip the credits if you really don't like it. It's like the people complaining that you're playing a game that has like narrative RPG elements. I don't think it's a great narrative RPG, but it has like romances, for example. And like these same people are like, every game I play, I end up in a gay romance. This game's woke. It's like, bro, you're the one choosing those dialogue options. Every game I play, I just happen to be flirting with men constantly. I don't know what's going on. It's like, I mean, you're the one doing that. It's like complaining, I keep going out to bars and every time I end up with a man in my bed. These bars are woke. It's like, bro, at some point I gotta look at you and just be like, I mean, no shade, but I mean, you're complaining about this a lot. Like a lot. Okay, interesting. So I mean, all of this, I just think at the end of the day, what we can say is that the performance of Shadows has been good. I would say it's outperforming what certainly I was expecting, and I'm guessing what Ubisoft was expecting. I think Ubisoft was expecting probably to be roughly in line with Odyssey, and instead it's actually outperforming Odyssey by a significant margin. And even if you say like, you know, Odyssey maybe got up to 600 players or 600,000 players or 700,000 by day 2, which I'm not sure it did, because Odyssey was a weird game. It kind of came out of nowhere, and it was the word of mouth that helped sell the game in the long term, but it was kind of a weird game that just kind of came out of nowhere. But they, either way, I mean, the numbers are very strong, and I think they're very happy with those numbers. Now, something like Shadows also depends a lot on expansion sales. It depends on those microtransaction sales, the cosmetics and stuff like that, the in-game stores that they have. It relies on the future updates that they're going to do. So this isn't the end of the story. Like, Shadows is supposed to be a game that is doing continuing revenue for the next 2-3 years. That's what it's designed to do. There's of course like the rumored and leaked like co-op mode that they're going to do, where they're going to let you have a friend play as Yasuke while you play as Naoe and stuff, which they probably eventually do, you know, maybe even by the end of this year. So it's going to continue to have eyes on it, and people are going to continue to watch it and see how it does. But I think no matter which way you break it down, you have to admit that the player counts for Shadows are better than probably everybody was expecting. And I think Ubisoft certainly is pleased with those numbers. How long that lasts, who knows? But I think the people that were insisting that this was going to be some colossal flop have been proven wrong, because even if it's not like on the level of Valhalla, it's certainly not a flop. Even if it performed roughly in line with Odyssey, that's I think what they were expecting. That would have been like, it's pretty good, because Odyssey did pretty well. You know, I think he said Odyssey did 3.4 million in its first month. You know, those are not bad numbers. So there you go. Interesting little update. Shadows, the game that they struggled with, seems to have done fairly solidly. Again, I think that Ubisoft still sees the corporate reshuffling and things that we've expected for a long time. Of course, just like last week, there were reports that they were in talks about creating a separate entity. In my video talking about it, I said that my expectation is that they probably will go and do like, I think what they're going to do is they're going to create a separate entity that is owned by Tencent and the Game On Brothers. That separate entity will continue to hold the rights to like AC Shadows or to Assassin's Creed, to Rainbow, like to the big stuff. And then I think they're going to splinter off into a separate entity, the lesser known IP or the less valuable IP, and they're going to start to sell shares of that elsewhere.
New pirate game coming out. Looks neat for what it's going for.
Crosswind, interesting. I'll look it up. So I still think we see some stuff happen in the near future, but we shall see. We shall see. To be honest, just use Ubisoft Plus. I mean, yeah, if you're honestly interested, you can just go pay $18 for that, try it, see what you think of it. Yeah. If you were to speculate, how much of a boost in subs do you think Ubisoft Plus got from Shadows? I mean, frankly, I personally don't know anybody that used Ubisoft Plus. Back in the day with like Anthem, everybody I knew that was trying Anthem was using EA Access, whatever they called it. If you remember Anthem, they had that thing where you could like buy the EA subscription and play it that way instead of having to pay $60 for it. But with Shadows, everybody in my like immediate circle, vicinity, friend group, everything, like everybody I know just bought it. But I'm sure that there's a lot of people who were like curious who decided to go through Ubisoft Plus to save money, which I think is a responsible, reasonable thing to do. I mean, if you just want to try it, it's not going to take you more than a month to finish it. Just try it, play it, and you're good, you know? So I honestly, I don't know. My anecdotal experience is that it's, if somebody's a diehard AC fan, they probably already bought the AC games. So Ubisoft Plus doesn't make that much sense to them because they're getting access to a whole catalog that they already own. But it very well could be significant. I don't know. I really don't know. Can you really save money with Ubisoft Plus? I mean, it's literally, you can buy the game for $70 or you can pay $18 and play the game with Ubisoft Plus. So, I mean, it saves you a good chunk of change. Of course, what they're hoping is that because you spent $18, you're more likely to spend money on microtransactions in the game, cosmetics. You're more likely to go play another game like Black Flag or Origins or Odyssey or Valhalla. You play those games, and the longer they can get you hooked, the more likely you are to keep that subscription for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, where they made their money back. You're going to be buying, map packs, XP boosts, resource packs. That's all. It's all part of the equation. And I mean, I think the odds of players, they would not have that Ubisoft Plus subscription as an option to play Icy Odyssey unless their data showed them that it converts to roughly the same level as if they charged you $70. Because I think what they found is that priced at $70, there's going to be a number of people that go, ugh, it's not worth that. But they might think it's worth $30. And then they see that they can get access to it for $18. And like, oh, okay. And they go play it that way. Because you've seen some people that are like, I'd recommend waiting for a sale. Well, $18 to play Shadows compared to $70, many people would consider to be a fire sale. I mean, that's a huge discount on the title price. So I think that there's a reason that they have it and they have it priced at that level. And it's because the people who are fully convinced that they want Shadows will just buy it. The people who are iffy will play it through the subscription. So they get money either way. They tap into that chunk of the market that was kind of on the sidelines. Wanderer, yup, here. I'm not buying this game until it's like 50 to 70% off. Well, exactly. And then if you're looking at it, but you still really want to try it and you're like, oh, but I can play it on Ubisoft Plus for $18. A lot of people consider that to be the discount they've been waiting for. So they just jump right in, Yeah. Never wait for Shadows, only pre-order. Oh my god. You got 20% discount on the Ubisoft launcher when you played 2 games on the launcher, so a lot of them bought it there because of that. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Who knew? Subscriptions are weighted very differently and studied thoroughly. Luke is right here. I mean, yeah, people assume that like, oh, I got it through the subscription, so therefore I really screwed the company over. If it really screwed the company over, why would they offer it? Like, like, let's just think about it for 10 seconds. If selling you this thing was really bad for the company, why would they sell it to you? Like, the reason that they have that as an offer, as a product offering, is because they think that it can get them something that just using this can't get them, because they want to go broke. Yeah, I mean, it's like brain dead. A lot of it is just that offering multiple avenues for entry into the game and into the ecosystem allows for them to tap into different markets. Just like, PlayStation, I think in the UK, just started doing a lease program for the PlayStation 5 console. So if you want a PlayStation 5, you can lease it basically for, I don't know what it is, 10, 15 quid a month. And that initially, you think of how long you might own a console over a generation. You're like, you're going to spend a lot more money. But there's a bunch of people out there that don't have just $500 or $600 laying around. So they offer this cheaper option for you to get in for a monthly rate, but they got you into the ecosystem. And then you buy games through the PlayStation Store where they have much larger margins. And so by offering this route, it doesn't appeal to the people that just want to buy and own a console and have the money to do that, but it does appeal to people who don't have the money to do that and can get you to come in and throw money and enter the ecosystem in that way. So it's all about offering, different doors for people to come into the same house with. And for most of these companies, if they can get you in the door, the odds skyrocket when it comes to you spending money, significant money, long term. Backbone, think of the 5. Hot tea, little honey, little lemon, maybe a splash of whiskey. Feel better, dude. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I don't know if it's just allergies, but it's been like a couple days. It hit me on Saturday, and it was really bad yesterday, and I was hoping that it would clear out by the time we hit Monday, but yeah, I don't know what it is. But I got my tea. I've been rocking and rolling, trying. Affirm, yeah, Thanatos, you're right. Affirm is a great example of this, where it's like, did you guys see they're starting to offer Affirm financing on DoorDash orders? Come here. If you have to finance a McDonald's order, you cannot afford McDonald's. Don't buy it. Okay? Like, I cannot imagine, even in my brokest of broke days, where I couldn't afford the $1 menu,
donated
like
20 Bulgarian levs through super chat.
Anyway.
I'm curious about something as I watched the whole Asmon thing when he played it. He only went through the story with really not exploring the world much. When you got a review copy, were you able to 100% it or just story?
Was I able to 100% complete or just the story? So games like Odyssey or like Shadows, they're built in a way where they want you to engage in this loop where it's like you have the story content, you have side content, and then you have like world activities. And they want you to go in that circle. And they tie it in certain ways. So it's like you need knowledge points to gain new abilities and skills. The only way you gain knowledge points is by doing those world activities that are over here. And once you've gained knowledge points to unlock higher ranks of skills, you need mastery points to gain those skill points to gain new skills at the higher ranks that you've been unlocking over here. And you do that with a lot of side quests. And you do that. And then you also need gear to help with all of these things. And the way you get gear is by getting resources to upgrade, like, the blacksmith at your settlement. And so you need to also be doing those world activities to help with that. And that makes you all more powerful so that you can do the main story stuff and progress through that. So the idea is that they get you to engage with all of the core pillars of gameplay by connecting them. So Shadows is not a game like most open world games that are put together by half competent people. It's a game that you cannot just beeline through the story. Like, it's not designed for you to do that. It's designed for you to engage with all of it together. So I don't know how Asmon played it, but I think Shadows to its core is built in a way where they want you to engage with all of those elements at the same time.
RBI17 donated $9.99 through Super Chat. Stupid question, but could Ubisoft just go private, not dealing with shareholders or investors?
Not a stupid question at all. I'll get to that in just a second, then I'll answer that. But it's not a stupid question at all. But as for when you got a review copy, were you able to 100% or just the story? No. So I mean, I think I mentioned in the review, maybe I think I did. But the main story is, well, maybe this is a spoiler. Broad strokes, the story is structured similar to Mirage, where there's core kind of setup of targets that you're going after to resolve the stories of Nawe, and then Yasuke has his own kind of board of objectives that completes his story arc. And so I don't even know if you could just beeline straight through it. So I did a bunch of side stuff. I by no means 100%ed it because the game is freaking massive and there's a ton. But I did spend a lot of time just like exploring and doing that type of thing.
Have you seen Dallas Drapeau's channel? He just covered some hidden industry agenda I thought was interesting. Would love to hear your thoughts. Would link but won't let me.
Oh yeah, YouTube throws a fit if you try to link stuff. The name sounds familiar. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with it, but the name Drapeau sounds familiar. As for a secret hidden agenda within the industry, I'm not sure what that's referring to. But yeah, I'm always open to explore secrets in the industry, but I'm not sure what it is. But I can revisit that in a moment.
So originally this,
Let's see. I'm not sure. Just tell me what the title is of the specific video you're referring to. Maybe we can check it out. Because he's got a handful of videos. I'm not sure, but I just pulled up his channel. Let me know. Real quick. Also, I will catch up on the smaller super chats in a little bit, guys. Of course, I got to give priority to the people that gave the big super chats. So bear with me. Let me see, where was I? RB, yeah, your question, stupid question, not a stupid question, but couldn't Ubisoft just go private, not dealing with shareholders or investors? In order to do that, they would have to basically buy the outstanding shares and buy them from shareholders. And basically the way that they could do that is you go to the board of directors and you say, hey, we're going to take this private, basically doing a buyout. The board of directors, which are the largest shareholders, typically, not always, but typically, they will vote on whether they support that, and then they can be basically greenlit to offer X amount per share, and that executes. It's basically what happened with Activision Blizzard. That's what happened with what was the other one? Of course, sort of in a different way with ZeniMax, when Microsoft bought them out. But basically with that one, it was privately held. So all of that was behind the scenes. But with Ubisoft, they could go and do that. The problem is the Guillemot family's wealth is tied into Ubisoft. So they don't really have outside cash. You know, it's like if you own this thermos and this thermos is worth $1,000, we'll just round numbers. And it's like, okay, I own 30% of this. I own $300. If I want to buy the whole thing, I have to come up with another $700. But all my money is in this thermos. All my money is that $300. So I can't just buy it. I don't have the money to buy the other $700 worth of shares in it. And that's where the Guillemot family is. Now they do have Daddy Warbucks, which is Tencent. And so they could go to Tencent, who owns a chunk of this and has a ton of cash from all of their other things that they have, because they have a lot of other stuff. Guillemot family, all tied into Ubisoft. Tencent, they have everything. I mean, they own bits of everything. So Tencent could come in and offer to give them the other 700. But what's the natural thing? Tencent's going to say, well, we want 70% ownership, or at least 51% ownership. We want to take control. If we're going to buy it out, if we're going to help you with this, we want control. Or at least maybe Tencent is like, we want, our own managers to supervise. We want this or that. At the very least, we want the majority of revenue that comes out of it. But all of the reporting backs up that Ubisoft's leadership, the Guillemot family, wants that 700, but they don't want to give up control. So they're going to Tencent saying, hey, can you give us $700 money, please, to buy this out and take it private so we don't have to bother with investors anymore? But we want to still have effectively 51% control. I mean, we want to be in charge of it. But Tencent's like, you wouldn't be asking us for 700 if you were like really at the top of your game, if you knew what you were doing. Like, you're asking us for help because you got yourself into a mess. We don't want to give you money to just get yourself in a deeper mess, but now privately held, with no accountability. So they're at sort of a standoff, and it's very interesting to see. Yeah, very, very interesting to see. But the question's not stupid at all as for taking the company private. They want to, they just don't have the money. And they can find business partners that are willing to partner with them to do that. But those business partners naturally are like, if I'm going to give you $1 billion, probably, honestly, they probably need about $2 billion to do it right now. Probably realistically more, because I think they would be bid up. But this is a multi-billion-dollar transaction. And you're not just going to like throw $2 billion as an act of charity. They're going to want something in return. And all of these companies that would offer $2 billion to help Ubisoft go private or to buy them out or whatever, restructure, whatever it is, they're going to want something for that in the form of control and in the form of a larger share. But the Guillemot family doesn't want to give that up. So it's just a very interesting standoff where they are. Yeah. Will I do a review on First Berserker? Probably not a review, but I do plan on trying it for a video. A pretty cool video. We'll see what it. Yeah. Well, I have something planned for that. It's coming. It's coming, and it's gonna be cool.
Koenig Kaiser IV donated $10 through Super Chat. I feel kind of starved on RPGs to look forward to. KCD2 was great. Dragon Age is basically dead. Already free on PS Plus, so I don't have faith in Mass Effect.
Fair.
What has
my interest in the future? I mean, in the immediate future, I'm excited for like Mafia in the fall. Or like August is probably when it's coming. So I'm excited for that. As for other like RPGs and stuff, of course, Witcher 4. Looking forward to that. I think that's going to be crazy. We probably hear something about Elder Scrolls 6 in the near future, and I'm hopeful that they blow us away with that. Time will tell, but we'll see. The Persona games are really good. Yeah, my game of the year last year was Metaphor Refantasio. That's a phenomenal game, but also if you're not into the anime art styles, I wouldn't blame you. I think, yeah, Atomfall I've heard pretty good things about. It seems more Stalker than Fallout, but it seems like it could be good. So maybe check that one out. Crimson Desert does look really cool. I am interested in Crimson Desert. We'll see that. Expedition 33 I think is going to be gorgeous. I'm excited for that one too. I think Expedition 33 could be really good. So there's a number. There's a number. I think we've got a lot to look forward to. Oblivion remake, yeah, that's rumored to be coming soonish, so we'll see. I'm not totally sure, but I do think that there are some things coming down the slope, whatever the term would be. Yeah, Forza, Doom, Mafia. Yeah, the Oblivion remake I'm really interested in because allegedly that's being built in Unreal Engine. And there's a strong possibility that the Oblivion remake ends up looking and running way better than Elder Scrolls 6, which would be really, really funny. That could be hilarious if that ends up being the case. But we'll see. We'll see. Death Stranding 2, that's not really an RPG, but that one's going to be an acid trip. A game, like a big release, late June. That's pretty rare. That doesn't happen a lot. Most big releases kind of are weighted to the beginning of the year or the end of the year. So that's surprising. That's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Yeah. Avowed, I think you can have fun with. I think you can have fun with Avowed. Is it like a masterpiece? Is it the best game ever? No. But I think you can have a good time with Avowed, especially if you're playing it with Game Pass. So it's just like included in your subscription. Phantom Blade Zero. Yeah, that's a cool game, but it's a very different game than I think people who have not touched it are expecting. I played it at Summer Games Fest, and it's not, it appears when you watch trailers, it looks like a Souls-like game, but it plays like, more of an action. Brawler's not the right word. There's a name for the genre. But basically it's all tied to like combos and stuff like that. So yeah, Devil May Cry, basically. Yeah, it's like you hit these buttons in a specific order: square, square, triangle, circle, square, triangle, square, and you line up that combo. And then it plays out, and the animation can play for like 5-6 seconds, and then you put in the next combo. So it kind of works like a fighting game, a beat 'em up, hack and slash. Yeah, but it's not one where like in the moment to moment you're carefully, like precisely timing this hit. It's about timing the combos and stringing the combos together. So you just have to kind of shift your brain into a different gear, and then it makes sense. But I think that one will be interesting to see how it plays out, because I thought it was really good in the demo we played. So yeah. Hold on, let me go back over here. Did I catch up on those? I think I caught up on those. Okay. Real quick, let me catch up on these smaller contributions and everything. Thank you, everybody, for contributing nonetheless. Thank you. Bouchard, thank you for that one. Hey, can you please start doing game critiques again, please? Why did you stop doing that? Big fan of your work. I haven't stopped doing it. It's just they take a lot of work. So we just did the Witcher 3 one. As for what the next one is, I'm not totally certain. But yeah, we've basically just, they're just massive. And we are doing a lot more content than we've ever done before. It's in smaller bits and pieces, but the big critiques we still do. We have to pick them very carefully. Cured Madness, thank you for the 5. I think Assassin's Creed has a lot of issues, but I think you only bring up things you can easily dunk on. Like, you only bring up things you can easily dunk on. I'm not sure what if you can dunk on something, if there's a problem with the game and I talk about it, I don't really see. Like, are you suggesting I shouldn't bring up the problems? I'm not sure what the point of that is. And I'm saying this as somebody that really likes Assassin's Creed, and I get flack for liking Assassin's Creed, but I'm not sure what your counter is, what your complaint is. Backbone, thank you for the 5. Hot tea, little honey. Oh, I did read that one. Yes, thank you. I might need to go re-up my tea. You never know. Let's see. I read that one. Troy, you boy, thank you for the 5. Hey, Luke, I love listening to your videos while working 9 to 5 at the ball crushing factory. More long-term videos, please. Yeah. I hope to have a lot. I think
Koenig Kaiser IV donated $10
thank you.
through Super Chat. What's a genre or franchise you miss? Mine is Command and Conquer. Love the RTS games.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone remember that FPS spin-off in 2008-09 that never got made? I remember reading about
it in Game Informer. Honestly, for me, it's probably Red Faction. I think it's Red Faction, because I grew up playing Red Faction 1, 2. I almost called it remastered. The one that they did remastered, the Red Faction Guerrilla. I love those games, and I love the destruction physics. I love all that stuff. And the fact that franchise is just in the dumb, like just abandoned basically, is really tragic, because it was at one time Red Faction was like incredibly innovative, cutting edge. They were doing stuff nobody else was doing. And so it really is tragic to see how it's just collapsed. I mean, they've done nothing with it. And now it probably is forever lost until they like sell off the rights to the IP to somebody else. But even then, it's like, who's talking about Red Faction anymore? Me? Like, that's it, man. It's really, really too bad. It's really too bad. But yeah, that's the one I immediately think of. Other ones, like I used to play Stronghold Crusader a ton. I would love to see that come back, but good. Because they did some that were just not, they weren't it. They weren't it. But let me see. I'm also going to lengthen the text to speech time. Alert time, so that hopefully it can read the entire message. There we go. Okay. Let's see. As for long videos and stuff, yeah, I mean, I think it's basically just a balancing act for us of figuring out what makes sense to focus on, and for me to like have Jacob work on editing and stuff. Because like AC Shadows, for example, that review turned into an hour-long one, so that's a big video. But we could do a 3-hour critique on the game fairly easily. I have all the notes already. I can, whip that together pretty quickly. It's more that it would take Jacob, days and days and days of work of editing that nonstop, which takes away from stream clips, which takes away from all the other stuff that we're doing. So it's just a matter of balancing all of that together and figuring out what makes sense to dedicate time to. Let's see. I read all those. Thank you again for the very generous super chats, everybody. Thank you. Sad boy, thank you for the 2. Luke, I'm sad today. Oh, I would never have guessed that. Can we watch a Peep Show clip? Sure. Let me pull. No, I'm good. Let's see. Kachiver, thank you for the 5. The title is the hidden financial powers behind gaming's culture war. It fit with the shareholder comments you were making earlier. Oh, interesting. I can pull it up. I can't guarantee we'll watch it today, but if it seems interesting, maybe we check it out. I will be completely transparent. I'm like, I get burnt out quickly on the like culture war stuff. It's just not super interesting to me, but I'm willing to see if the video offers some really interesting looks at it. Let's see. Matt, thank you for the 5. Thank you for that one. No message, just 5. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, let's see. Zoob, thank you for the 5. Worst part of Creation Engine, if the Elder Scrolls switches to Unreal, we'll get video compilations or remove features like persistent arrows. Yeah. No, they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. I think it's just, you're going to get comparison videos no matter what, but that is also just an artifact of people feeling like games are not offering what they should, or that games are degrading and things in quality and variability and dynamics. So I'm not totally sure. What the best route for them is, but either way, I think they are just in a spot where we know there's going to be comparisons, side-by-side videos between The Witcher 4 and Elder Scrolls 6. And I think we all know which way that's probably going to lean. And does that mean that Elder Scrolls is necessarily a bad game? No. But if Elder Scrolls doesn't nail everything else it's doing, that's a problem. That's the key. Like, if they have amazing writing, amazing role play, cool gameplay dynamics, that type of thing, who cares if the graphics aren't cutting edge? Who cares if, like, the animations are a little stiff and stuff? Who cares? Like, it really doesn't matter if the gameplay is fantastic. The problem with some of their recent games, like Starfield, for example, is that it's not technologically cutting edge, and things like the writing, things like the gameplay dynamics, the gameplay loops are not exceptional. So you have to, like, if you're lacking over here, you've got to be exceptional over here. And I think that's where they're going to run into trouble, but we'll see. Paul, thank you for that 3 as well. Thank you. AC Shadows looks so good without using Pisser. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, it's a graphical powerhouse. It definitely is. You don't have to like it, but I mean, graphically, it's quite impressive. Okay. Also, no shocker to anybody, Indie is releasing on PlayStation in April. They did officially reveal it, so it's coming. It's a coming.
Koenig Kaiser IV donated $10 through Super Chat. Last dono, got a bachelor party trip to NOLA coming soon.
Hell yeah.
I'm newer to your channel, but love your nuanced takes. I listen OMW to work. Red Faction was goated. Any movies you've
Any movie, I tried to lengthen the time and it didn't work. Thank you for the super chat and have fun at the bachelor party. As for any movies I've enjoyed recently, have I seen any like movies? I just started Severance. I've been working through Severance because my brothers were telling me I had to watch it, and I'm liking it so much or so far. So I'll give them that. So that's been like most of my time is watching Severance. As for movies, like what was the last movie I like sat down to watch? I think the last movie I sat down to watch was like me and my wife had been asking to watch Wicked, and so we finally like put it on the projector and we watched through Wicked. I think that's the last movie I sat through. It was fine. I don't know. I don't get the hype around Wicked. I'm like, I understand at the time maybe it was a breakthrough because it was like, oh, we're gonna belt in a musical instead of just classical. I can understand maybe at the time it was like revolutionary. Nowadays it just sounds like another musical, and it's not one that I find particularly like impressive. I'm a purist. I want to watch the 25th anniversary cast of Les Mis. Like, it's an amazing concert. Alfie is it Alfie Boe? Is that his name? 25th anniversary Les Miserables. Les Miserables. Yeah, these guys. I like, obviously I can't just play it, but this guy, you can get it on Amazon Prime, and this guy's voice will just make you feel like nobody else should ever sing ever again. They have a Jonas brother in it though, which I hear you sounds horrible. And he does, I mean, he's not anywhere near as good as anybody else, but it's really funny because he has to sing next to these like world-class vocalists. And it's pretty clear he's not quite on that level, and it's freaking hilarious. Okay, so there'll be times where like he's really trying, and then Alfie just comes out and kills it. Maybe I can play a little snippet without being copyright struck. Let me see. See, it's not even close, dude. It's not even close. So it's really good. I encourage you to check that out if you've not seen it. It was at the O2 in London, and you can watch the entire stage show, and it's phenomenal. It's really good. So 25th anniversary concert of Les Miserables. Les Miserables. It's very good. Very good. You want to like see an actual musical that'll knock your, I was going to say something morbid. That's going to kick your butt. That's it. Watch that. Yeah. Well, it's the problem is the classically trained guys, they can fill a room with their voice, a stadium with their voice, just because they've been trained on how to properly like use their diaphragm and all that. When you're a pop singer and you're used to just singing into a microphone that's like inches away from your face, you don't have to be classically trained like that, and you can kind of cheat. You can whisper sing, you can mumble rap, you can do whatever. When you're on a stage like that, you can't. And so I forget, Nick Jonas, I think is that one. I get him mixed up. He like is not there vocally on their same level. And so as the concert goes on, he's trying to like stay with them in terms of volume, but he's having to like use a lot more of his throat to get there. And so his voice starts to kind of give out as the concert goes on. So he's definitely kind of the low point of the show, but everybody else is phenomenal. It's very good. Yeah. Luke Stevens, the gayest straight dude I know. There you go. I don't like the pop like poppy musicals, but something like Les Mis, I'm there for that. I feel like it's on another level. It's more of an operetta than it is a musical, in my opinion. There's no tap dance numbers in Les Mis. Just telling you. How bad is his understudy? No, for him it was probably, I think they only did like 2-3 nights for that performance because it was the 25th anniversary. But yeah, his understudy probably was way better. Frankly. Like, honestly, that's kind of what I would expect. Koenig, thank you for the membership too. Thank you. And then Weird Accent, what a name. Thank you for the 2. Any early Switch 2 predictions for Tuesday? I guess we can talk about this real quick because it is also coming. News Roundtable Conference, also thank you for the resub. Crosswind, I also pulled that up. I pulled it up. Yeah, this is the pirate game you mentioned earlier. I hadn't heard about this, but I'm interested. So I'll keep the tab open and I'll check it out after stream. I'll dig into it. Thank you for the suggestion. Thank you. And then Potato Wrestler, what a name. Thank you for the 500 bits. I'm so glad Shadows is doing really well. It's insane the way these guys have been desperate for it to fail just because they made one black character. Really can't wait for them to move on to something else for their culture wars. Thank you for the 500 bits. I have a feeling that Snow White will be absorbing a lot of that attention. So, yeah. I don't think anybody's really shocked because Snow White was, I mean, apparently that movie is not great. So I think that that's going to absorb a lot of that attention. That's my guess. Oh, man. Yeah, I just think I'm amazed that it took people this long to realize that Gal Gadot, whatever her name is, can't act. Like, I thought we all knew this for a long time, but enough champagne to fill the Nile. Like she really, yeah, it really timed out well. It really did. Disney's a bro for that one. Tell you what. Right as Shadows releases, they're like, yeah, right then, do it then. It's just Kal-El, no. Yeah, exactly. But like, she's been a terrible actress forever. Like, nothing about anything else in her life, whatever, who gives a crap. As an actress, which is what she does for a living, she's dreadful. Okay, like, she's dreadful, man. A Wet Paper Bag can out-act her, and it's not even close, man. It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh, let me see. What was it? Oh yeah. What's it? IGN. Excuse me. Ba. Let's see. So, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this real quick. I don't think I've watched a single movie with her in it. Yeah, that's probably for the best. She's just, I mean, I'm sure she's a very nice person, but she can't act. Like, she just can't. I'm sorry. It's just not great. News. So we are close, fam. We are real close to one of the biggest game events of the year. And yet almost nobody's talking about it, which I think is more of a compliment to everything else going on in the industry, frankly. I think that that's a lot of it. The Nintendo Direct for the Switch 2 is happening on April 2nd. Just 10 days. Just 10 days from now. And it really is not, I mean, I think now that Shadows is out, there's kind of a lull in the news, so this is probably going to get a lot more of the focus. But this is what's been fascinating is so far this year, there really has not been a lot of discourse around Nintendo. It's kind of been like the elephant in the room that nobody acknowledges. And I think that it's just very interesting because already we have like a number of Game of the Year contenders, and we have a number of others that we kind of expect to be Game of the Year contenders, whether you look at, GTA 6, which of course hasn't launched yet, but probably, let's be honest, it's going to get nominated. We've got Monster Hunter, we've got KCD 2, there's been a number of of Split Fiction, which I think currently has the highest Metacritic score. There's been a lot of games, and there's probably going to be even more between now and December that get nominated. Whether it's Death Stranding, whether Mafia ends up being really good, who knows? But there's a lot. And Nintendo somehow has not really been discussed a ton. And I think it's just because we've been overwhelmed with so many other really great games. But every time Nintendo launches a new console, they typically have, within about 9 months of launch, at least 1 or 2 Game of the Year contenders. And what we expect for the Switch 2 is Mario Kart 9, whatever that is. And then probably also a 3D Mario, like a sequel to Odyssey, basically. And it's interesting to see because I think that they're going to come out swinging with some big stuff, but everybody has just kind of assumed that this is going to be, this is going to come and it's going to dominate headlines and everything. And I think it will. It's interesting because they've reportedly already been stocking hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of units throughout the world to try and avoid scalping, which I think is great. I mean, drives me crazy that you cannot buy a modern console or piece of gaming hardware unless you're using a bot or paying a scalper. That seems so stupid to me, but that's just where we are. A buddy of mine just built a new PC, and the only reason he got a 5080 for it was because a friend of his runs bots to scalp devices. And so he just hooked him up and was like, hey, yeah, you can buy it off me just for what I paid for it. But I used bots to get them and scalp them and flip them. And I was like, okay. I mean, I would throw a water balloon at your friend, but okay. Do what you're going to do. Yeah, it's just tech in general. But a lot of it is because there's paper launches. There's not enough inventory and things. And that's just the problem with it. With the Switch, too, what they seem to be trying to do is flood the market with supply. So scalpers can go and buy 10 units, but there's 10 more in the store at MSRP. So there's no reason for scalpers, for people to pay anything to scalpers. So scalpers very quickly give up on it because they realize, hey, I just bought 1,000 of these things and I can't sell them for more than MSRP. So I'm just losing money because I paid taxes on the purchase. And I had to put all the time into it and like struggle with all that. Now I have to sell them for store purchase price or probably lower, because if I'm not going to buy it from the store with the guarantees of the store, returns and all that, I probably am going to pay less. So it can wipe out scalping real quick once inventory becomes available. And that seems to be what they're trying to do. But one of the other things that is interesting about the Switch is stuff that's not been clearly described. So of course we've got like the trailer reveals that show the actual console and new connection methods with these magnets, it seems, instead of the rails. I'm not sure if I like that more or less, frankly. I'm honestly not sure. I thought the rails were fine. I don't know why we needed to switch to magnets, because I don't know if that's going to be more secure or not, but who knows? There's probably a reason they switched to that. They made the controllers a little bit bigger. I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's rumored to have an LCD display instead of OLED, which is going to be a massive downgrade for most people that bought the Switch OLED, because switching from OLED back to LCD is going to look really crappy. And it's expected to probably have like a 1080p screen, maybe even still 720, but probably 1080p screen. It's a little bit bigger. And it's got new internals, of course, as you would expect. But the most, I think, impressive thing that has not been shown, because it's not something you can really show in a trailer like this, is that they're using, of course, NVIDIA hardware within it. And it's expected to utilize DLSS, like a specifically calibrated version of it on the device, specifically when you go docked. So it's supposed to not just stretch the image up and crank up the wattage and stuff when you dock it, but it's supposed to actually do DLSS upscaling when you dock it on your TV to get to like 4K, which I think is an awesome improvement and addition, because playing the Switch, the base Switch now on a big screen, like a 65, 75 inch TV, it looks pretty rough. So I think it's a very, very good potential move. But what's interesting to me is I think we all remember the Wii U. The big problem with the Wii U was that it was announced. It was presented as, of course, Wii U. So the logo was the same. A lot of people thought that it was just another Wii. And I remember stories of people being like, oh, I thought it was just a new controller for the Wii. I didn't realize it was a whole new console. And of course, it ended up tanking because people didn't know if there was a reason to upgrade. And I'm honestly curious if that was just an artifact of I think it was 2011 roughly. I don't know if it's an artifact of that time period. Nowadays, I think consumers on the tech side are way more savvy with the internet being, much more ubiquitous with TikTok, with streamers and YouTubers being more common. I think it'll be very clear that the Switch 2 is something different. It's an upgrade. Even if it looks kind of similar, I think people will get that it's new. But I do think they're going to have to come out swinging with some exclusives, because I don't know about you guys. I've not really touched my Switch in, I don't even know how long. I think the last time I used it was to play Astro Bears when I had some friends over. We played that for like 20 minutes and then put it away again. I brought my Switch to the Bahamas. Thought I was going to use it like on rainy days. Oh, we'll play Mario Kart all together. I don't think we used it once in the 2 weeks we were there, because, we're on vacation. It's good we were busy with other things. But I still was shocked that we didn't use it. Like, there just wasn't any push, And I think that if they have some of these like Game of the Year contender games, that could, help this blow up. But I'm really, really interested to see how it actually performs, because this year is so crazy busy, so jam-packed with big releases. I'm not sure if the more hardcore gamer that is playing on PlayStation, Xbox, PC, whatever, I'm not sure if they are racing out to buy one of these.
Wedgie donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
My prob with modern Mario. It's going to be a GOAT game regardless, but BC, we know Mario games can produce on low tech, but it's being used to sell new hardware. The next Mario probably release on Wii U.
We know Mario games can produce low tech because used to sell new hardware. The next, I think the next Mario probably is one of those that comes out, gets 10 out of 10 scores across the board, because that's just what these do. I think Mario Kart 9 is probably really good. But I'm honestly not sure if it's exciting enough in the age of GTA 6 coming, where people are going to be trying to justify getting a PS5 Pro. I don't know if people are going to be buying this immediately. I'm very interested to see what the game plan is. I'm very interested. They probably have a big lineup. They've been quiet for a while. They should have a lot of big games ready to go for this, and I'm optimistic about it. I'm very curious. I'm very curious. Buying day one. Yeah, I hope they have good games. You remember back with the original Switch, they had Breath of the Wild and then basically nothing else. Snipper clips. They had, I don't even remember the names of the other one. 1-2 Switch or whatever it was. They had a number of really kind of crappy games, mini games and stuff, but that still sold gangbusters because they had Breath of the Wild. With this, they've shown Mario Kart. We don't know what anything else they have is. And if it's just Mario Kart, I would find that a little underwhelming, but maybe still it could be worth checking out. It does come with the whole Switch library day one. And I think if they can announce that it comes with upgrades to those, now you can play Breath of the Wild at 60 frames. That I think is more appealing to people. I think that could actually get people to buy it. But I think that it's going to come down to those software announcements of what games they have, upgrades to previous gen games, that type of thing. I think that will be what moves this and gets it selling. Because I think if they announce that, you can replay Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom at 60 frames, and when it's stocked, it upscales with DLSS to 4K. Oh, okay. I'm interested now. I'm paying attention now, But if it's just you can play those games, and then we also have Mario Kart, then I'm a little more underwhelmed, I'm definitely buying it if it runs at 60, or if Breath of the Wild runs at 60. Yeah, that for me, I'd be I can go back and replay that again. Now it's finally time. Tears of the Kingdom at 60. Yeah, dude. Price point? Well, that's the other piece. I think everybody, they've done a bunch of surveys and polls on social media. Pretty much everybody expects this to be $399. If it's more, the likelihood of people buying it, I think, plummets, because it's going to be hard to justify buying a Switch 2 when people are also in the back of their minds thinking, I got to upgrade to like PS5 or Xbox Series X if I haven't already, and maybe even PS5 Pro to be able to play like GTA 6 and some of the other big games coming later this year. So I think it has to be $399. Personally, if it's more than that, I would be shocked. But my guess would be $399. That's my expectation. That's my expectation. Okay. Okay. Yeah, they gotta have the banger release titles. 1000%. Why couldn't it just be native 4K? I hate to think that some games could be. What some games could be. I think it's literally just powered. They have to have everything on that console running inside that small form factor, and it has to be capable of scaling portably. And I just don't think they can swing that. I just don't think it works. And pretty clearly, like, the games still look really good. They still run very well. But I think gamers, ultimately what will convince gamers are the games. If they have good enough games, it will work and people will buy it in droves. But I really think if it's literally just Mario Kart and then it's like, yeah, and you can play old Switch games on it, I don't think that's super exciting. If it's upgraded versions of previous games, oh, I'm paying attention now. Ooh, I'm sitting forward. Let's check it out. But I think they have to have something more. They have to have, like, oh, it's upgraded versions. It's running at 60 FPS. It's, that type of thing I think is more exciting. And will move more copies. Okay. Let me catch up on these real quick. Scroll too far. Let's see. Did I miss another one? Let's see. Samaya, thank you for that one. Luke, I really like the Shadows, the story of Shadows, but I really hope they abandon the hunt, the main targets, any order you want. It hurts building a coherent narrative that builds upon itself. Do you think this changes in Hexe? Yeah, Hexe will be the most different AC game you've ever played. Like, Hexe, my understanding of it is that it is a linear, more horror focused Assassin's Creed game that's very, very narrative and has a good amount of like magic stuff basically with it. The bits that leaked that Tom Henderson talked about, he described seeing gameplay. Of course, we didn't get to see it, but he described seeing gameplay of the title character going through like an old medieval city at night, and guards are walking towards the player character. And so the player then basically possesses a black cat that's walking around the street and then uses that to distract the guards to pull their attention away so the player can sneak around the guards and get to where they need to go. I think that little snippet describes a lot of how that game's going to work. I think it's going to be very stealth focused. It's going to be very linear. It's going to be very narrative, and it's going to be really dark, which I find interesting. I find that compelling. I like the idea, the setting. I think that could be a really interesting, fresh game. Plus, it's being written by Darby, who did all the writing on like Black Flag. Also did a lot of the narrative stuff on Valhalla, but I think Valhalla's problems were a lot of structure, not necessarily just the story. Mark Alexis Cotier, who is an AC veteran going back 19 years, like an OG of the franchise. He is executive producing it, so directly supervising it. And so I think that there's a lot of good signs with Hexe that make it much more interesting. Like, it gives it a lot more potential, in my view. Yeah. Let's see. Where else are we? Yeah, but I still think that every time they release one of these AC games, there's going to be a lot of confusion of people like, oh, so they're abandoning the open world games. It's like, no, they're just doing a lot of little stuff. It's just going to be something we have to re-explain 15 times. It's just how it's going to be. Let's see. Jeppy, thank you for the 250. Luke, you rock. Thanks for the awesome content. Thank you, my friend. MMORPG Al, thank you for the 5. My crazy conspiracy theory: Nintendo finally gets GTA 5 or GTA 6 at launch and announces GTA 6 for the Switch 2. Is this possible? I would be shocked. And I will also say, if it runs on the Switch 2, I'm not sure. I think the term runs would be generous. Because I'm guessing it would run at like 360p and it's like real rough. Yeah, I'd be very surprised. Very surprised at that. Did they ever even port GTA 5 to the Switch? I don't think they did. Is it even on the Switch? No, I don't think it is. Oh, wait. No, 2024, April of 24 it did. They ported popular game to PC. Wait, no. Okay. Of course, we've seen no official response of GTA 5 on Nintendo Switch, but as reported by Game Rant, that hasn't stopped modders. Oh, so modders. So they never officially did it. And then they deleted the tweet because I'm guessing it got taken down from Rockstar. So, yeah, I think it also is the type of game that Nintendo doesn't love being on their platform. I know they've put other like more mature games on it, but I think that would be a very visible one. But I also am not totally sure if that moves the needle for the Switch 2, because if you have, say, $500 total to spend, does that, like, are you really buying a Switch to play GTA 6? No, you're not buying the Switch to play GTA 6. You're buying the Switch to play Mario, to play that type of thing. So I'm not sure if it actually moves much. Let's see. Oh, this was also just a fun little tidbit I figured I'd share. The Until Dawn PS3 2013 prototype full playthrough was posted to YouTube by Digital Preservation. This is the version that was playable with the PlayStation Move. Remember that? So it's like an early build of Until Dawn with the PlayStation Move. How crazy is that? Isn't that fun? Thank God this isn't how the game ended up. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? What a weird time in gaming. All that weird like move stuff where everybody wanted their own Switch or their own Wii. So everybody's like, you have to have a movement controller. Use the Kinect. Use this. It just was bad. It's just bad. Cozy, thank you for the 5. What do you think will be your favorite thing about GTA 6 or something that you would want most? I loved in GTA 5, this is going to surprise no one, the stock market mini mechanic. Because through the main story, and I'm sure you guys know this, but just in case one of you doesn't, in the main story, there's multiple missions that take place within or affecting large companies within the game. So if you go into the game and you buy shares of stock in a competitor, and then you destroy the company in question, their competitor's stock skyrockets. You can finish the game with hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, and buy all of the property in all of the game, if you just know how to play the stock market right before you do those missions. And it's super cool. It's such a weird, novel idea to put into a game like that. But I'm kind of hoping that they do something like that in GTA 6. I think that could be really, really cool. Yeah, you could make billions if you did it at the right time. Yeah, it was super cool. It was super cool. Such a weird, fun, little quirky mechanic. So I kind of hope they do something like that again with GTA 6. I think that'd be really cool. Let's see. I read that one. No one, thank you for the 5. Since you mentioned potential 3D Mario, would you like it to be a successor to Odyssey or something completely new and different? Something new and different. I'm one of the 7 people that didn't love Odyssey. I just thought it was like fine. Or I thought it was great. I did not think it was a masterpiece. People were calling it a masterpiece, a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. And I was like, I don't see it, man. I just don't. But I know some people love it. Jesus Blaze Gaming, thank you for that super chat. Luke, do you use your Atomos Ninja for streaming or just for videos? I use it just for recording console gameplay footage. So, and then I convert it on one of the PCs to something that's more tangible. Yeah. Rockstar in-game NFT market, calling it now. That would actually be really funny if they did something like that, if they made fun of NFTs. I think they will 1000% make fun of crypto. NFT, I'm not totally certain. Maybe that's like 70% chance, 60% chance. But I think they absolutely have like a mission where you're dealing with crypto stuff. Yeah. Split Fiction, yeah, I did a whole review on it. I think it's phenomenal. It's, for me, not as good as It Takes Two. I just liked that game's setup more, the setting and all of that. But yeah. Yeah. A Mario Souls-like. Now we're talking. Also, real quick, just small follow-up on the Egyptian pyramid thing that we talked about. Yeah. Just, I showed you guys this. This is what they said they found under the pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Giza, with like these sonar scans. This is what the data actually shows. So they're taking from this and interpreting it into this. A little bit of woo-woo. People are saying, see, clearly these are obelisks that go 2,000 feet into the ground. Maybe. Probably not. But maybe. Maybe. You know, there's just so many examples of stuff like this where people see something and then they interpret it into what they want it to be. And like when the lead researcher is a self-described UFOologist, yes, that's what he calls himself, you probably have to pause. You gotta pause. Because there's something there. There's something there. Might just be a massive pit. I saw one geologist was suggesting that it's possible that the immense weight of the pyramid has compressed the bedrock in a way over 4,000 years to create these hot spots of density. I don't know. Way smarter people than me will need to figure it out. But for people to be like, look at this, therefore, it's a gigantic battery space laser. And I'm like, okay. Okay. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Maybe it ends up proving it's like being proven true. And it's like, oh God, there is an obelisk 2,000 feet tall buried there. And the pyramid is just the top of it. That would be crazy. That would be amazing. I would love to know that. Do I think that's what it is? Probably not. Almost certainly not. But I'm interested in seeing what it is. To be fair, you can't get a UFOologist degree legitimately. Hey, he paid the $50 fee. Okay? He did what he needed to do. He read a book. Okay. He read most of a book. Lay off him. Oh, man. It's like that guy that proved to himself that Earth isn't flat, but still didn't believe it. There are people with very different mindset that we can't comprehend. Some of those, I mean, they did have that whole flat Earth thing where they flew some of them down to Antarctica and let them see like the 24-hour sun. And that is not possible on their flat Earth model. And there were some people that were still like, no, at some point they must have drugged us and snuck us into a 3D sound stage with the most believable screens and Truman Show-esque studio you can imagine to fool me, a flat earther with 500 subs on YouTube. Like, there's some people you just will never convince, you know? Yeah, Professor Dave. Yeah, you gotta love Professor Dave. Can someone be a pholologist of anything? A French phryologist? Yeah, I mean, I think it's literally they just give themselves that title if they study something. So they're like, oh, I spent a lot of time thinking about, like, am I a Todd Howardologist? Because I've talked about Todd Howard a lot. Maybe that's what I should start saying. Okay, let's touch on this though. Let's touch on this because we were just talking about it earlier, and this is a good thread. We've touched on it previously, but I think it's worth revisiting real quick. Okay, you ready? Okay. News. Can somebody try to... No, I'll do it later. Actually, I want to do it right now. Hold on. Before we do this, somebody just said Todd Howard is the head of a Sphinx. Generate a picture of Todd Howard head on the Sphinx in Giza. Please hold. Please hold. Oh, it's just going to put like his head next to the Sphinx. No. I want his face to replace the face on the Sphinx. So it's just gonna make the head bigger. Oh no. Okay, so this isn't working. I thought it would work. It did not work. And now this is apparently its interpretation of Todd Howard's head. Oh man. Oh man. Anyway. Yeah, it was worth a try. Yeah, it was worth a try. It was worth a try. Yep. I did. Oh my god. I'm a tautologist. Yeah. I should wear a lab coat if I ever meet him. Be like, what a remarkable specimen. Just really get him to call security quick. Okay. New segment. So now we've officially seen Shadows come out. You don't have to like it, but it seems like a good number of people are. It seems to be meeting Ubisoft's internal expectations, according to people I've spoken to, and also what like Tom Henderson has reported based on their internal numbers. Now I think the ball is rolling towards the next things within the Ubisoft franchise, and the most immediate next thing is expected to be AC Black Flag Remake, which probably comes later this year. I've said a bajillion times, if they do a good job with that, I think that immediately buys back a lot of goodwill with people because people love nostalgia and they love Black Flag. If they can do a good job with that remake and not screw it up, easy dub, massive brownie points. I think it sets them up really well for what comes next, which is expected to be AC Hexe, which is the game that's set in the witch hunts in Germany back in the medieval period. Seems really, really interesting. And Mango Moon Star has collected a series of posts describing what we know about Hexe, and I want to just run through it real quick because there's a couple of little tidbits that I find intriguing and exciting that I want to touch on. So specifically, if we kind of work through this, development for Hexe is headed up by Ubisoft Montreal, their last game being Valhalla. The lead writer for Hexe is Darby McDevitt, who was also lead writer on Black Flag, as well as Revelations, and narrative director for Valhalla. You guys know, I really didn't like Valhalla. Main reason why I didn't like Valhalla, though, was structure and the fact I felt like it was built to be big instead of lean where it needed to be. It just was too much. It was overwhelming. But it wasn't necessarily the writing that upset me. It was how the writing was formed and like put into the game. Like some of those side stories that you did in Valhalla are still very, very memorable. Like even just the other day, I mentioned as part of a different stream, the whole quest line tied to Fall in, I forget, was it Lincolnshire? I don't remember which specific area it was in Valhalla. But where there was like the harvest, and then there was the Wicker Man with the guy that had to sacrifice himself basically for the harvest. It's a very interesting plot line and story. But anyway, he is the one heading up the writing on that. The director of Hexay is one Clint Hawking, who returned to Ubisoft Montreal in 2021 to direct Hexay specifically and to co-direct AC Infinity. He's worked on Watch Dogs Legion, Far Cry 2, along with Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Now this guy, they would have used Ashraf Ismail, but of course he got booted out. He got booted out like 6 months before Valhalla launched for some personal failings, I think would be the term. He's since been picked up at a different studio in Montreal, working for Tencent, a company that they have. But if you look at this, so Clint Hawking, he started his career at Ubisoft, where he first designed and wrote scripts for Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. He moved up to direct Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. He went on to direct Far Cry 2, so he was the director for Far Cry 2. He left Ubisoft Montreal due to him being too comfortable at the studio. So that was back in 2010. Between 2010 and 2015, he joined LucasArts, Valve, and Amazon Game Studios in various senior roles. Throughout this period, he did not release any new games, and in August 2015, he returned to Ubisoft, this time at their Toronto studio, where he directed Watch Dogs Legion, and that, of course, received mixed reception. By July of 2021, he returned to the Montreal studio and is due to direct Hexay and co-direct the AC Infinity project with Jonathan Dumas, who is the creative director working, that directed Shadows, of course, which is interesting. So he, back in the day, did some very successful games that people still love and appreciate, like Far Cry 2, focused on dynamics, all sorts of cool stuff. People still do comparison videos showing stuff Far Cry 2 did, that modern games don't do. So they pointed to him back there. Watch Dogs Legion, this was a game that was the most impressive and boring game I've played in a long time. Legion was so interesting because it had this amazingly impressive technology at the core of it, where you can recruit any NPC in the game. You can, they become the main story. They go into cutscenes. They have their own dialogue. They have their own play styles. They have all of this. You build like a whole legion of NPCs. You walk up to any NPC in the game, you can recruit them, and then they become your playable character with their own stats, their own personality. They have their own day-night schedules. They have, it's crazy. It's a very impressive game, technologically speaking, but they forgot that does not a fun game make. That does not make an interesting video game. It's a super impressive technological thing, like a tech demo, but they started with that and then tried to find a way to turn it into a cool game and an interesting story around the game, and it just didn't really click together. And so it was very impressive, but it didn't work that great as a video game, in my opinion. And after Legion's fail, I mean, it really did not make hardly any money, as far as I understand it. It's pretty much caused Watch Dogs as a franchise to be put on ice. They're just not touching it anytime soon. And after that, he went back, by July of 21, he went back to Montreal to direct Hexay. So he's been working on Hexay for a while, a good long while. Now, he does have experience with linear stuff. Of course, going back to Far Cry and those games. But he's heading this up, which is very interesting. He's the one heading that up. The series vice president, Marc Alexis Cotier, will come in to executive produce for Hexay, and he's been working with Ubisoft for 19 years. He is an OG of OGs. Marc Alexis Cotier, he's you think Assassin's Creed, he's been there since the beginning, okay? Assassin's Creed Hexay is being developed by the team who made Valhalla, and Montreal is promising a completely different approach to Hexay and is reportedly going to be taking a more RPG linear approach. with horror elements. Especially focus on linear horror. Think of that. Like, I've heard rumblings of some of the stuff they're doing. There's been leaks of some of the stuff they're doing. And it just seems that they are trying to go, whatever Valhalla was, this basically aims to be the opposite. If Valhalla was about just a field, this is a narrow street. That allows them to put way more effort, way more focus into the dynamics within those streets. It allows them to focus on all of those little bitty details. And I think that there's potential here. I really like the idea of them focusing on something much tighter. And plus, this also probably means that we see them return to actually creating a city that they put a lot of effort into, that they put dynamics into. Like, I don't know if I'm the only one. Let me know in chats, I guess. I miss the days of Assassin's Creed being set in a massive city that's super detailed and is like a historical recreation. Like, I miss those days. I just do. I loved in Syndicate exploring London. I loved in Unity exploring Paris. I just like having historical recreations of cities. And I think it works well with the parkour systems, which of course are so iconic within Assassin's Creed. I think just having a big open field in a forest, like in Valhalla, it doesn't utilize the parkour, which is so core to Assassin's Creed. So I'm excited to see that they could be going back to a much more medieval, complex city layout, as you can see, presented here. Hexe is rumored to be set in the 16th century during the Holy Roman Empire in 16th century Europe during the witch trials, putting the game in or around 1560 to 1630. This would put the game either during or after the events of AC Shadows, which could tie into the AC Infinity Hub stuff. Probably not directly, but it's probably more of a coincidence there. I think it's more just like an ideal time if you want to do something medieval, you want to do something dark and gritty and freaky. This is a good time to do it. Plus the Holy Roman Empire. I mean, it's the Templars. I mean, you're pretty much set up right there. We know exactly kind of how this is going to be structured, who's going to be who are the good guys, who are the bad guys. Like, it just lines up very well with already established lore. Protagonist. Not much is known about the protagonist of Hexe, except that her name is Elsa and will possess witch-like abilities, including one that seemingly has her possessing and controlling a cat, as has been described with that Inside Gaming article where Tom Henderson described footage he was shown. This happened a few times where somebody within Ubisoft sent him clips of gameplay, and he looked at it, and the condition was he was allowed to describe it but not show it. And this is because, like, there was one story years ago of a developer who was like, basically took their phone and like recorded a video, or I think it was a picture of their workstation and a leak on the workstation. And the person was found out because like they sat next to a window and all they had to do to figure out who did it was like, okay, on the screen is the date. And then Tom or whoever, Bill, sits in that corner by the window. Oh, it's Bill. And so they got him. Like, so it's common for these types of things to happen where they make requests and specifically say, don't share it, but you can describe it. That's fine. But what Tom Henderson described in the leak that he saw was the player character Elsa walking through like a dark medieval street, and guards are approaching. As you can see here, the clip shows Elsa being chased by German soldiers. Elsa using a spell possessing a cat the player controls, who knocks over a glass bottle, distracting the guards so that the player character can sneak around. The guards are dressed kind of like this in the typical medieval garb. I cannot wait for people to say that this is like woke when they see them wearing like super ornate outfits, which they did. I can't wait for that. But I think they're going to take a very interesting, different approach with this. And I think the focus on more magical abilities might turn some people off. I'm interested to see how they explain it away. If they're like, oh, it's because Elsa's wearing a pendant made of an Isu artifact, and so she has these powers or whatever. Maybe they do something like that. Or maybe it's just like, nah, screw it. She's a witch. Why not? Maybe they do that. Who knows? But they continue on. Another system that Hexe will possibly use is the AC Syndicate Fear system featured in the Jack the Ripper DLC. If the system or a similar system is placed, it could either be either the lethal Jack the Ripper toxin or Evie Fred's non-lethal toxin. Okay, I see. But as you can see here, there's all sorts of little bitty systems they developed for the Jack the Ripper DLC, Fear of Ghosts, where you can use that to manipulate NPCs and change their behaviors, either scare them away or whatever else. So there's a bunch of cool stuff that they could kind of do with this. As you can see, using little toxins and stuff like that. Man, that Jack the Ripper DLC, I think it's underrated. I really do. I think it's underrated. He continues on. System 3 out of 3. Another system that could be included is from Assassin's Creed Valhalla Wrath of the Druids DLC with the green fog and fire, which is hallucinogenic, as a guess, and that makes the children of Danu believe they have magical powers. AC Hexe could use a similar concept. Maybe. I kind of hope they don't do this. You know, like, I just think it's a cop-out when it's like, oh, you've been using these magical abilities the whole game, but you actually weren't magical. It was all a dream, basically, because there was some poisonous gas seeping through the ground and it made everyone hallucinate. And that's what made you think you were being magical and made them think you were being magical. But it actually was just you being normal. Like, I don't know. I don't like that cop out. To me, it comes off as like the same thing as it was all a dream. It's just a get out of jail free card to do whatever you want. And I don't know. I don't love that. So we'll see what they end up doing there. Assassin's Creed Hexe, Tone could drive from 1 to 2 games in the the Assassin's Creed franchise, one being Valhalla Wrath of the Druids, and that DLC specifically offers a much darker tone, focuses on cult practices, witchcraft, tones that could be building blocks for AC, which I think definitely this was their kind of experimentation with it, laying the foundation. Another tone Ubisoft Montreal could drive inspiration from was Ubisoft Quebec's AC Syndicate Jack the Ripper DLC. The tone shows the darker side of London, Whitechapel, and how the public perceives assassins and how fear is the most powerful weapon. I think, you know, without a doubt, that's definitely where they're taking some nods, without a doubt. Not much is known about the story. All we can do is theorize. All we know so far is that there will be magic involved. It will be horror focused, and this is taking place where the AC and Templar Order do exist, so it won't be the Order of Ancient or Hidden Ones or any of that stuff. They're actually going to be able to specifically talk about it and do it, you know, instead of having to just be like, oh, it's the same but different. There will actually be hidden blades and stuff like that. To theorize a little bit about Hexe, it could be the Templar Order using fear to control the public and giving them a reason to hunt the assassins. In this game, we can see a group of assassins who possess witch-like abilities through Isu artifacts. Yeah, I think that's pretty much, that's a safe bet. To continue, the group of assassins could be in a coven, or their assassin-like abilities to hide in plain sight and use their eagle vision could put a target on their backs. I think it's also, they're going to do something where it's like, maybe there's a specific faction of assassins that are primarily women in this area, or they do something where it's like, oh yeah, we can target the female assassins by saying they're witches, and then we can kill off the male assassins by saying they're protecting and guarding and sheltering witches. So it's just an easy way for the Templars to literally do a witch hunt against the assassins without having to say that they're assassins. So I think that lines up really well. And of course, initially they were targeting a 2024 release date, but it's now heading towards 2026, possibly 1 year after AC Shadow's initial release date in November. AC Hexe will also release on the Animus Hub. And what's interesting about this too is there was a statement made, I believe it was Marc Alexis Cotier. I'm not certain. I'm going off memory. Don't quote me on that. But basically, after the delay of Shadows from November to February, because remember, AC Shadows was supposed to release on Valentine's Day, and then it got delayed again until March. After the initial delay, Marc Alexis Cote or somebody said that this had like cascading effects for the rest of the AC franchise and all the other projects they were working on. Because of course, if AC Shadows was supposed to release in November, that would mean that right now, Ubisoft would probably be revving up to reveal the Black Flag remake, which is maybe their 2025 release. And then Hexe, or maybe the Black Flag remake was supposed to be like early 2025. or mid 2025. Maybe they do a shadow drop at Ubisoft Forward in June. Maybe it's already done. Who knows? Who knows what they could be doing? And then, Hexay was supposed to be late 25. But what was clear is after Star Wars Outlaws, Ubisoft decided that they could not afford to have any complaints over performance. Like they cannot afford any wiggle room here. They have to nail it. And I think that this is just, you can get away with certain things when you have a certain reputation, when you have a certain amount of cachet, when you have a certain amount of goodwill built up, with your audience and with your customers. Maybe a good example is somebody like Capcom. If this is like the mid bar, okay, Capcom, after years and years of really solid releases that people love, they have this much goodwill. This is, positive. This is negative. So people like you, people don't like you. And so when they released Monster Hunter Wilds and it ran like garbage, of course, that ate up a lot of goodwill. That ate up all this goodwill. But it still sold crazy well. People were still willing to buy it and play it because they had a good amount of goodwill. People would still buy it. They were willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. They didn't like how the game ran. They were upset when they actually bought it and played it, but they still had bought it because the goodwill was high enough. If they had a worse reputation, which is kind of where Ubisoft was with Star Wars Outlaws, if there's anything wrong with the game, people will just give up. They won't bother buying it because you have all this negative goodwill. People actively distrust you. So if there's any red flags with your game, they don't buy it. And they realized that with Star Wars Outlaws. But with Monster Hunter Wilds, people are willing to kind of hand wave stuff away. I'll see for myself. I'll try it for myself, and, they end up getting, kicked and bitten in the butt because of it, because the game ran really poorly. But, Capcom now, they've lost a good amount of that goodwill. Now, maybe they're right here in terms of goodwill that they have. So their next release, if it's also broken and buggy, that's going to be a significant problem for them. They don't have the goodwill to just eat that up. It doesn't work that way anymore. So I think what Ubisoft realized is that they needed to regain goodwill, and that's done by offering pro-consumer, things to people, including DLC, removing early access, giving reviewers a ton of time to actually test your game. They try to polish the game, things like that. They try to win back some favor. And I think that that's a good strategy. I think that's a good way to do it. But as a result of this, I think Ubisoft realized that they had to delay everything. So they delayed Shadows. And then internally, even though we haven't seen like release dates or anything, I think that means Black Flag Remake was also delayed. I think that means that Hexay was also delayed, giving them more time to polish, more time to fix stuff. And so even if Hexay was originally looking like late 25, or maybe it was 24 pushed to 25, now it very likely could be booped all the way to 2026. And they just shift everything so that they can get it where it needs to be. And as a consumer, I think that's good. It means we get games that are actually finished. I think that's good. But I think it has definitely shifted timelines, because I think we would have had already a couple of other games if they had thought that they could rush them out and get away with it. I hate that this is hold on, where'd it go? I hate how this is a strategy, not a moral obligation. I mean, ultimately it's a matter of business, and for them, they look at it and they say, if we can release it today and you will still buy it, even if it burns this goodwill, who cares? We still got all this money. We're good. And that's the thing. Monster Hunter Wilds sold crazy well, even though it ran like garbage. I think what I said in my review is that it ran like hot donkey ass, but it still did really well. They got away with it. And just the delay from like November to February, Ubisoft said that was going to cost them $25 to $30 million. Like, for these companies, why would they lose $25 to $30 million if they can just release it now and get away with it? It runs better now? Yeah, they could have delayed it a month and got it running way better. But that would have cost them money, and they could get away with it by just launching it when it did. you know? And that's the unfortunate fact of the matter, is that so long as people buy these games anyways, so long as people just choose to hand wave it away and shrug, it's fine. It runs bad, but it's still Monster Hunter. I love Monster Hunter. You know, that it's never going to actually get fixed. What you saw with Ubisoft is people didn't hand wave it away. People saw that Star Wars Outlaws released too early, and they said, okay, we're not going to buy it. And so they didn't. And what did Ubisoft do? They delayed everything by months and months and months, polished everything, and made a significant change that cost them a lot of money. But they had to figure it out because they realized people were not going to put up with it. And the same thing will happen if gamers kind of come together and they're like, okay, yeah, this game not polished, we're not going to buy it. Other industries or other companies, other developers, publishers will sit up and pay attention to that, but you have to hold their feet to the fire, and vote with your wallet. But a lot of people just don't, because they're like, yeah, it runs bad, but you know what, I still like it, so we're gonna play it anyways. So anyway, the ACXA stuff is very interesting. I'm thoroughly intrigued by this. I don't think I'm I wouldn't say I'm not hyped. I'm not hyped for it, but I'm very intrigued by it because it sounds like a totally different game than anything else we've seen from Ubisoft in recent memory. And I think that that's very interesting. I'm very interested in that. Even rumors of what like Far Cry 7 is going to do with having an in-game timer, which is something, of course, like Dead Rising did. That's just different. That gets me interested. One of the biggest problems I think a lot of people have had with Ubisoft is that they tend to play it safe and they tend to just kind of recycle the same ideas 15,000 times and just doing little bitty shifts and changes. But it seems like some of these projects that are coming down the timeline in the near future are significantly different, and I'm interested in that because I want to see. Maybe it works great. Maybe it's hilariously bad, but maybe it works great. I'm just excited to see that they're trying new stuff again, which is refreshing. So we'll keep an eye on it. But good thread on Hexay, and we'll keep an eye on it. I have a feeling we're going to find out more about it. Maybe this summer we start to hear. I think that would be surprising. I don't know what else Ubisoft really has, but it's not impossible that maybe instead of targeting like fall for Hexay, maybe they surprise everybody and they target spring of next year. And they're like, oh yeah, same launch window as Shadows. March of 26, we release Hexay. And then the fall is reserved for like Far Cry 7. Who knows? They could do a lot of things, but we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, end of segment. Let me catch up on these super chats real quick. Stocky, thank you for the 5. Hey Luke, absolutely love your content. Was hoping you'd suggest a mic for a decent price doing YouTube and streams. Honestly, it's going to depend on what your specific situation is. My like first nice mic was an Audio Technica AT2020. They make a USB version of it. It's a great microphone. It's a condenser mic, so it picks up a lot of little detail noise, but it's got a great sound. So that's one for like $100 I would check out. Audio Technica AT2020. Ashraf Loudly, thank you for that 7. People seem to be fed up with Souls-like games. Do you think FS From Software needs to make big changes to their formula in their next main game? I don't think they need to. I think if they release just Elden Ring 2 or whatever they end up like doing, I think it still sells gangbusters. I think people are fed up with derivative attempts to copy the formula, but I still think whatever FromSoft does will sell gangbusters. I don't think that there's much likelihood of that. I think if they go totally different direction, kind of like Sekiro, if they try something just totally different, it'll still sell really well and people will call them brave for trying something fresh. And then if they stick with what they've been doing, people will call them brave for refining a nearly perfected formula. So I think no matter what, they're going to be set. I don't think FromSoft is too worried about it. Still don't know how to feel about Night Rain. Or still don't know how I feel about Night Rain. Yeah, I mean, as I said in my video, everything I love about Elden Ring has been stripped out of Night Rain. So it's just not a game for me. I found it quite lacking, but I understand a lot of people really liked it. So it's just not a game for me. But we'll see how it does when it comes out. Let's see. Musey. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Thank you for the 6. I love the setting, but the stereotypical way they portrayed the English would be problematic if they did it the same in Shadows, for instance. Stereotypical way they portrayed the English? You mean in like Hexe? It's set in Germany. So I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, in Legion? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think I would need to see specific examples of like a stereotypical way they portrayed the English. Yeah, I guess I'm not totally sure. Corbin, thank you for the 5. If it's in the early 1500s, we could meet Martin Luther King. Do you mean just Martin Luther? I think you mean Martin Luther. And have yeah, I think if you saw Martin Luther King, you'd be surprised. Can you imagine if they mixed it up and Martin Luther is replaced with Martin Luther King? They're like, we thought they were the same person. I'm sorry. Okay, you're fine. Sorry, that just took me by surprise. Yeah, if you ran into Martin Luther and had the Protestant Reformation stuff, I think that could be very well an element of this. Yeah, you could do little nods there. You know, maybe that you could even gin up like a scandal where it's like, oh, Ubisoft is disrespecting the Protestant faith or something. They could all sorts of marketing potential there. Yeah, AC civil rights. They're like we didn't have enough of a headache trying to do Shadows. Let's just set an Assassin's Creed game in like the South in the 1950s. I'm sure that'll go over super well. I'm sure Americans will respond great to that. Can you imagine? Oh man. Let's see. Where was I? Thank you for that 5. I canceled my $350 AC Shadows Collector's Edition. A regular copy, I think, was enough for me this time around. Can't justify it like I have before. It's a lot of moolah. It's a lot of moolah. In my view, collector's editions, 99% of the time, just come down to whether you like the statue. I know some people love like the pins, they like the patches and stuff. For me, like if I like the statue, if I think it's a good sculpt and a good paint job, I'm interested. But if it's like a really crappy one, I'm like, So for me, it's usually just a matter of the sculpt. AC Election Day. Yeah, dude, they're just like, what's the worst idea we can come up with? Let's see. AC Kofefe. Yeah, exactly. That would be, can you imagine? Oh, we should be so lucky. Limit Breaks, thank you for the 1 month membership, by the way. And yeah, tight, 27 months of membership. Ooh, baby. Thank you, my friend. I have mixed feelings about playing Shadows. I've been a fan of AC from the beginning since playing the OG as a teen. Can you sway me either way? I just think Shadows is a game. It's markedly different from the last 3 mainline entries. It really is its own thing. It's designed to be much slower. It's designed to be more intentional, to be more methodical. It plays moment to moment, I think more similarly to a Far Cry game than to one of the recent AC games. So I think it's just one of those games you got to really take your time with. Crank the difficulties, really push yourself to use, careful and precise stealth. and I think take your time exploring the world and that type of thing. Also, don't leave the roads. The roads are there for a reason. Like, do that. Oh, dude, can you imagine if they did AC Dallas and it's like, yeah, you play as an actual historical assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald, and JFK is a Templar. Like, can you imagine if they tried to do that? Oh my God. Oh my God, that would be content. That would be content. I'll tell you what, dude. Wow. Can you imagine if they're not going to do that, but that would be something. In the school book suppository. Oh man, that would be, there you go. Yeah, maybe we should have just a brainstorming session, come up with like the worst possible ideas we can. Oh man. Oh wow. Odin, 24 months, 2 years, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, how much we've grown together. Dude, it's crazy. It's been 2 years. That's insane. Okay, SR, I think you just found the worst one. AC Ruby Ridge. Yeah, that would be pretty bad. Or AC Waco. Molly, yeah, that's pretty bad too. AC Waco might be the worst one. Let's hope they don't do that. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about this. New segment. Okay. Jesus. Okay. You guys keep somehow finding even worse ones that I think would be bad. So I think you all win. We all win. Okay. Oh man. Okay. I lost my train of thought. Okay, real quick, in chat, I need you guys to give me a 1 at this point. A 1 if you think... Okay, actually, let's do it this way. This makes more sense to me. Put a 25 in chat, 25 if you think GTA 6 launches in 2025. Put a 26 if you think it launches in 2026, okay? That'll be easier than if I just ask you ones or zeros, okay? Put the year you think it's coming, 25 or 26, okay? Okay. Here's that. So I just asked you guys to put in chat what year you think GTA 6 is coming out. And I mean, it's pretty clear cut. You guys are flooding the chats, oh God, with a lot. All of your votes for what you expect to see. In terms of the release date. I think, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of 25s, a lot of 26s. Do a poll. I mean, we could do that real quick. That might make sense. I think at this point, what's weirding people out is that we've still heard nothing. After all this time. Let me do it this way. Release 2025, 2026. Okay. I'm going to create this poll. I'm going to put it in both chats so you guys can vote. And then we have a pie chart to reflect on. Okay. There you go. Let's see the results. So they insist at their earnings calls, at their investor conferences, at all that stuff. They're insisting that they're still looking at 2025, that they're still on track. They're still happy with it. They're confident they can hit that point. That's what they are saying. Whether or not that's true, I think, of course, will remain to be seen. But I don't think that they would just say that if they were secretly like, yeah, we're going to have to delay it. Because the longer they wait, I think the bigger of a deal it will be. Current speculation and rumors are saying like April, probably. We see something early April. We probably see some trailer. A lot of people think that they might actually release the trailer on like April 1st, which would be really freaking funny if that's what it ends up being. But I mean, a good chunk of you, the majority, think it's going to be pushed to 2026. And this article on Insider Gaming is actually kind of interesting because it actually mentions how the entire industry is kind of relying on GTA 6 for some much needed growth in the industry right now. Because the games industry, surprisingly enough, has kind of plateaued the last year and a half, 2 years. It's been an industry that's just skyrocketed in terms of growth for a long time, but for the first time in a while, spending has kind of stagnated. Players are not throwing money at things they would have previously thrown money at. They're being much more cautious because they've been burned by a number of really high profile flops. And GTA 6 is expected to bring in a lot of new players to the current generation. They're going to buy PlayStation 5s, PlayStation 5 Pros, Xbox Series X's. They're going to buy new gaming hardware. That's going to have an impact on gaming peripherals, extra controllers, monitors, TVs, that type of thing. People will be buying and upgrading their whole setups for it. And this is something that's like well known in the industry, is that there's going to be a ton of money flowing that wasn't previously flowing. And as you can see now, Grand Theft Auto 6 has a firm hold on the 2026 release schedule. Despite not having a confirmed launch date, it's still assumed it'll drop in October 2025, and no publisher or developer in the world wants to compete with it. With that being said, it's believed that many companies are waiting with bated breath for a confirmed date, at which point they'll mark their calendars. And this is something that, I mean, we know there's a number of big high-profile games that have no release date, even though they should be nearing completion. And nobody knows anything about them. Nobody's heard anything from them. Whether even within Take-Two's umbrella, like BioShock, there's a new BioShock game that should be getting there, getting close. And Ken Levine's game Judas. They did a whole like big reveal last year, almost exactly a year ago. I think it was early April, where they revealed Judas gameplay. They let people try it, and then they just went silent and haven't said anything since. So that potentially gets a release date closer to, you know, when they reveal the GTA 6 one, because of course they can coordinate being under the Take-Two umbrella. So there's just a lot of games that are supposed to be coming soon and are just now being very, very hush-hush. Nobody wants to pin down exactly when. In a recent interview at GDC, a noted senior consultant at Newzoo made a damning observation. He suggested that a GTA 6 delay could be so impactful that the knock-on effect would write off some companies. He's saying that if GTA 6 gets delayed, it could lead to other companies outside of Take-Two, other companies going under because they can't survive that long. There's a powerful assertion. In a chat with PC Gamer at GDC in San Francisco, Newzoo's Ben Foster made a brutally honest claim about the potential impact of a GTA 6 delay. If you're a game company who's holding its breath waiting for GTA 6 to get out, and then it gets delayed by 3, 4, 5, 6 months, what do? You either have to be able to launch into that big black hole that's been left open now, or you have to extend your run rate by an additional 6 months. I'm assuming some companies are going to tank as a result of that, right? Not an insane suggestion, because delays can cost millions upon millions of dollars.
MR Steel Yo Kill _54 donated $10 through Super Chat.
Hell yeah.
If there was a Horizon Zero Dawn 3, it would release near GTA 6.
You know what game they're working on? Horizon Online. You know when it's expected to release? Late this year, early next year. Never, ever doubt the ability of Guerrilla to place their game next to an even bigger game. Okay. Whenever they announce the release date for the Horizon multiplayer game, I'm betting all of my net worth on GTA 6 releasing within like a week and a half of that. Yeah. Because they just have a talent for it. The first game, release right next to Breath of the Wild. What could possibly go wrong? Second game, okay, it's our time. We got plenty of space. Right next to Elden Ring. It's masterful. It really is masterful. It's got to be intentional at this point, right? That like it's got to be, because they always, like 2 times in a row, they've done it, and it's just very interesting to me. It's fascinating, but yeah. Charge, thank you for the 20 months. Hey, Luke, I think you're 100% right about your take on the real world impact of GTA 6 release. I have a week of PTO banked just for that release week. Yeah, dude. A lot of people will. I've told you guys 1,000 times, I think you will see a quantifiable drop in global productivity, specifically with young men and male gamers. I think you'll see people calling out to work calling out of work in record numbers. I think you'll see people like the energy bills across the country, across the globe, will skyrocket because everybody's turning on their gaming consoles and sucking power through the wall. I think you're going to see like internet service providers having trouble managing with the amount of download that will happen when people are preloading the game. It's going to be a whole thing. It's going to be a thing. Okay. And if you don't think it will be a thing, I think you don't understand how big GTA 6 will be. Okay. It's huge. Huge. He continues on though. Everything we know about GTA 6 suggests it'll still be releasing in just a few months, most likely in October. Foster's comments are accurate given how we've already seen some developers adjust their expectations based on the impending release of GTA 6. If you're a publisher waiting to give the green light and GTA 6 is delayed, you've then got to manage that accordingly and potentially push back your schedule too, when companies around you might be relying on launching and bringing in some money to make up for development costs. Foster was also transparent about GTA 6 not being some magical formula that'll revitalize the entire industry overnight. He did suggest it'll be putting eyes back on the games market from investors, but it won't be a universally uplifting thing. I mean, I think once it comes, there will be a lot of eyes on how much growth it drives, how many conversions it drives. I think there will be a lot of attention put on it, certainly. But I think it's just going to be interesting to see the broader impact, because a lot of that's already baked in and factored into these valuation considerations. But that's why, there's certain types of games I think that could go in the same launch period as GTA 6 and be okay. I think like remasters, remakes, if you're interested in like The Last of Us Part 2 on PC, I know that launches in a week or two on like in April, but I think a game like that, launch it next to GTA 6. I don't think it matters that much, because if you wanted to play GTA, or if you want to play Last of Us Part 2 on PC, you're gonna buy it anyways. Same with like remakes. I think Black Flag remake, if it launched next to GTA 6, I think it's fine. If it launched like a week or two after, I think that's fine, because it's a remake of an old nostalgic thing. The people who are interested in it will be interested regardless of what's around it. I think the ones that are most vulnerable to GTA 6 are like other big AAA releases. Like if you are a Horizon 3, like you suggested earlier, I don't think that should launch next to this. I think if you're a Fable, you don't want to launch next to this. If you're I don't know, what's another big one that's coming? I don't know, some live service games maybe, but you definitely don't want to be launching next to GTA Online. So I think that's a bad idea. If you're like a Fair Games, I don't think you want to be launching next to this. So I think there's certain types of games that would be okay regardless. Like there's rumors that Nintendo launches a new Mario this fall/winter. That means that you could have a new Mario, 3D Mario, launching within like a few weeks of GTA 6. Like I think that's probably fine, because I think the overlap between like Switch players, hardcore Switch players, and GTA 6 players, probably not massive. So I think that would be fine. But I mean, that's what it would take. Like either a more niche game, a remake, remaster of something old and nostalgic, or it's got to be like totally different platform, totally separate. Otherwise, I don't think anybody wants to be near it. Because I guess there's not going to be player like SteamDB numbers. But like Red Dead 2, it's a long game. It takes players a while to get through. And I would expect that GTA 5 or GTA 6 is also going to be massive. So it's going to maybe take the average player a week or two to get through. Maybe more. And so I think you probably don't want to be releasing a week before or probably 2 weeks after, which pretty much creates a 3-week bubble where nobody's going to want to be anywhere close to it. And that's what they're bringing up here, is if it's delayed, there's now just a void in a very in-demand period in the industry. And, it could be a ripe spot for people to swoop in and launch if they have the game ready. Emphasis on ready. Hopefully they don't rush it. It will not under-deliver in terms of profits for sure, but if the game itself is mid, half the player base will still shill for it. I I don't know. I think the one thing that the gaming community loves even more than a really good game is a really, really bad game. And if there's anything for people to complain about, they'll find it. But Rockstar is the one company that is able consistently to somehow live up to the hype and exceed it. People thought there was no way Red Dead 2 ends up living up to the hype and expectations for it. And it ended up doing it. Like, it just ended up being phenomenal. So I think there's a very strong likelihood they managed to live up to it this time. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. We don't know until we get the game. And as of right now, we don't know when we get the game. So $2 billion for a mid game could be a bubble buster. Well, it doesn't matter, Molly, if it's mid or not. It matters if it sells mid. And I think for it to come out, I think it will review well because Rockstar just knows what they're doing. So let's say it reviews really well. It's in like that 90s tier. It's going to sell gangbusters. I can see the review headlines now. A game worth waiting for. They've been cooking. You know, we can see the titles already of the reviews. And I think people will buy it in droves. It will sell millions upon millions, tens of millions of copies within like the first week. It's going to be ridiculous. So I think either way, they're going to be fine. Rockstar sleeping on PC players with GTA releasing on consoles first. I think they just know they can double dip. I don't think they're sleeping on it. I think they just know that they can wait 6 months, get GTA Online out, establish that, release on PC with all sorts of new bells and whistles, and get a lot of PC players who also bought it on console to buy it again. So I if anything, I don't think they're sleeping on it. I think they're well aware of it. They just know if they time it right, they can get you to buy 2 copies. and you're going to thank them for it. Yeah. Is the $100 price tag confirmed or not? Nope, not yet. They haven't said anything about it. I still insist, I think the most likely thing they do is that they price it at 70 or maybe 80, but they're going to do like a week of early access for $100 for the $120 version, deluxe, whatever, the outlaw, the bandit, whatever edition, and lots of people will buy it. That's what I think they do. I know some people are like, no, they're going to price it 100 flat and then also early access for 150. That would be surprising to me. That would be like, oh, you're feeling real greedy. Okay. That would surprise me. But I think after AC Shadows leaking, like the physical copies leaking early, I think Take-Two is like, okay, yeah, we're not going to risk that. Yeah. So we're going to do digital only for the first week or 2 weeks, whatever. I think there's potential that the physical copies, they do the Fallout 76 thing. You remember the Fallout 76 stuff? Fallout 76. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. Yeah, it literally, this was it. Inside the physical case was a piece of cardboard that said, to redeem your game code, log into Bethesda.net, redeem code. And then the code was on this little pamphlet. So I think later, like the PS4 version had the physical copy. They did this like after the fact, but like the collector's edition did this. I'm not sure which ones they did it with and how, but I think there's a good chance that they do something like this for GTA 6, where it's like, yeah, you can buy a physical copy, but it's a digital code because we don't want you playing the game early or hacking into it. You know? Yeah. So anyway, it's not confirmed yet, but I do think they're going to push the boundary. I think they're going to do something to get extra cash out of people. I just don't know to what degree, because if they raise the base price to 80 or to 100 and do early access, I think that's very possible, but I think that would be like, oh, they really think they have something like crazy special here. Like they think they have the game of the generation. if they're willing to push that hard, because that's going to upset a lot of people. That's a lot. If they price it at $70 and then have early access at $120 version, whatever, then I'm like, okay, that's kind of what I expect them to do. Because then they can still say, well, no, we didn't raise prices. It's just we offered earlier access. Take-Two will do it. I think they can get away with it. As for whether they think that turns off or prices out too many people, I don't know. Because I do think there are people that cannot afford a $100 version of a game. I think there are people that just can't do that. But 70, I think some people could stretch to get there. And I think for them, if they're willing to set the base price at 100, they're pricing some people out. And they might not want to do that. So that's why I think they price it at 70 and just do early access for a lot. But you better believe they're doing all sorts of calculations, projections, international comparison. Like, they're doing crazy amounts of stuff to see what they can get away with. And whatever they think they can get away with, they will do. Because that's how it works. Yeah, so this is just a follow-up to what we talked about earlier. Tom Henderson posted an actual article on it. According to our sources at Insider Gaming, who have obtained the information via Ubisoft's own tracking tools and have provided such data on past titles, it shows that AC Shadows is behind that of Valhalla, but ahead of Odyssey, which is, I mean, I think most of us expected behind Valhalla, but I expected it to track pretty much in line with Odyssey. That's what the pre-order numbers were saying, but they're saying it's actually outperforming Odyssey. Let's see, 1 million players 1 day after launch, 2 million 2 days after launch. According to the data that they got, Assassin's Creed Valhalla achieved 2.55 million players on its first day, whereas Odyssey achieved just shy of 1 million, roughly 430,000 during early access. Okay. Well, that's right. Odyssey had a whole early access thing. So Shadows is tracking to hit 3 million players in the coming days. According to the trajectory, Shadows could hit roughly 6 million players within its first month. But it's worth pointing out that the game has released in Q1 compared to other successful AC games that released during the holiday season. At the time of writing, Odyssey currently has the most unique players of any AC game, sitting at over 40 million. Jesus, dude. Yeah, player numbers are not sales, but we should hear more on the game's performance and from Ubisoft themselves in the coming months. Yeah. I think we'll only hear final details on like units and stuff in May at the earnings call, but they seem happy with it. Okay. Ooh. The upcoming Horizon game has reportedly been canceled with The Last of Us Factions, and God of War games online is scrapped. Who reported that? Sundown? Because I have it on good authority that the Horizon Online game is not canceled. And you might be referring to the story about the NCSoft game that was rumored to have been canceled, but it was later confirmed that the NCSoft game that was canceled was not the Horizon game. So the NCSoft Horizon thing is still in development, and the Guerrilla Online game is still in development. Because yes, they have two. Shame. Oh man. Oh boy, more Horizon, more content for the next AI song. Listen, I hope they nail it. I hope they do good. We'll see. I don't want them to flop. I don't want them to yeah, I don't want them to flop and have a total disaster, but based on the stuff I saw, like those leaks, I'm not a betting man, but if I were betting right now, I think we all know where I would put the chips. And I think most of us would put the chips in that same spot. Even if you're like a big hardcore fan and even if you're rooting for them to not blow it, there's just certain patterns. Like when we see, I'd eat the chips. Good for you. You are what you eat. I'm Cash Money, baby. I just think that there's certain patterns where you can see like certain art styles and things that immediately repulse the audience. Certain choices with tone, certain choices with like the live service pursuit, trying to monetize your fan base by tapping into something that they already love. Like there's certain patterns you can identify that tend to lead to flops and things that the audience does not connect with. And I think that there's unfortunately a lot of things like that that are popping red flags for that Horizon project. But I would love to be wrong. I hope they nail it. I hope it's amazing. I hope I have a new Monster Hunter adjacent game I can get obsessed with and love. I hope it's fantastic. But again, if I were a betting man based on this right now, I mean, I think you gotta call a horse, you know. Let me catch up on these real quick. Let's see. Think of the 5. JFK being a Templar has me in actual tears. Dude, I don't think they'll ever go there. But if they did, I think that's like the no-brainer. Blake Rogers saying for the 2. AC Shadows or Ghost. Also, Jousting in KCD2 when? Oh, dude, that would be awesome. As for AC Shadows or Ghost, I think they're just totally different games. I think Ghost is, in my opinion, I think it has a better story. I think it has better combat. Like I think it's just on individual scales, I think it's a better game, but they're very different, and I think that they're trying to appeal to different people. But I mean, if I had to like pick one, I'd pick Ghost. But Jousting in KCD2, yes, I want that now. Mr. City Kill, thank you for the 10. Oh yeah, we read that one about Zero Dawn releasing next to GTA 6. I think that's very likely. Yeah, Charge, thank you again for the 20 months of membership. Ooh, baby. Thank you for that one. GTA 6 could be the first game considered quadruple A. Yeah, on a pure budgetary scale, it's expected to cost between $1 and $2 billion when all is said and done. And it will make that up, almost certainly. So, yeah, it's probably the first true, like, quadruple A game in terms of budget. It's just insane. You could look at other live service games, like Fortnite has cost well over that over the last handful of years. Like they spend billions and billions on that game, but it makes billions and billions. But that's over long periods of time. That's constant updates. So it's a little different. Live service games, I mean, they cost ridiculous amounts of money too. It's just they pump them out so quick that you don't notice. But yeah. And then Neelax, thank you for the 5. If Judas were to announce a release date before GTA 6, would that signal to the industry that GTA 6's launch window, they're held hostage by Rockstar? Yeah. So for example, if Judas launched, if they announced a trailer and they released the launch date for Judas as like October 28th, 2025, I think that pretty well says it's not coming till the spring, GTA 6. But if they announce Judas for like spring 26, I think that suggests very strongly that they're going to hit that fall release window for GTA 6. So yeah, absolutely. Because they're under the same banner and they don't want their own sales cannibalized. Like they're not going to put those games next to each other. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. New mini segment that's kind of similar to another segment we did. Sources from VGC. Assassin's Creed Shadows is the series' second biggest launch ever. Only Valhalla delivered more launch revenue, according to data seen. So Insider Gaming, we just earlier looked at data from Insider Gaming about the performance of Shadows in terms of player counts, how many players they actually had. VGC says they are seeing revenue data. So as you can see here, according to further data seen by VGC, Shadows delivered the second highest day one sales revenue in franchise's history, behind only Valhalla. This is the key. Player numbers can be deceptive, especially because there's like giveaway codes, there's promotional codes sometimes for like, oh, you bought a graphics card, now you get a copy of the game, or oh, you bought Ubisoft Plus, so you got access to the game for $18 instead of $70. It can be deceptive, but revenue includes exactly microtransactions. It includes the game purchase. It includes Ubisoft Plus. Like all of that gets factored in. And ultimately, all the companies really care about is the money the game is bringing in. If it has one player, but that player happens to spend $1 billion on the game, they're still happy. You know what I mean? So the revenue numbers are very, very telling. They say, notably, it did so launching in March when other series entries arrived during the more lucrative Thanksgiving season, Black Friday period, roughly, and did not benefit from the pandemic boost enjoyed by Valhalla. The pandemic boost was crazy, dude. People were spending so much money on games. It was insane. But yeah, they did not release during the holiday period, which AC almost always does. And they still were able to hit these targets, which is significant. Shadows marked Ubisoft's best ever day one launch on the PlayStation Digital Store, was the most wishlisted Ubisoft title of all time, generated over 11 million watch hours on Twitch, the strongest start for any recent Ubisoft title, including Valhalla. Significantly, PC activations represented around 27% of total activations, with Steam playing, quote, a significant role in that performance. It's almost like if you launch on the biggest PC platform, PC players are more likely to buy your game. Like, this is gonna blow people's minds, but yeah, it's significant. Yeah, they did not require the Ubisoft launcher. They do require a Ubisoft Connect account to have cloud saves, which means that you can play and sync your saves from GeForce Now to Steam to Ubisoft Connect to PlayStation, Xbox, what have you. But it doesn't require you to like install the Ubisoft Connect launcher or anything, which is a good change because that launcher, I don't know why it always logs you out. Like, how is it that I've been through it before. That launcher drives me crazy. Anyway, 27% of total activations on PC. AC, whoops, I pressed the wrong button. Go back. Whoops. Okay. Assassin's Creed Shadows is the first major Ubisoft game to release day one on Steam since 2019. Previously, the publisher prioritized its own digital store as well as Epic Game Store at launch. I think this goes back to like the late 2010s. Everybody started doing this. You remember even like Bethesda started doing it with the Bethesda Net launcher. That was the big push they had for Fallout 76. Part of it is that you get to keep a larger chunk. You don't have to pay Steam 30%, which of course they love. The other part of it is that you get to manage your own customer service stuff, which means you don't have to do 2-hour like returns like Steam does. You play the game for an hour and a half. You don't like it, you can return it, get your money back. Like the Bethesda Net launcher didn't have to bother with that because it's their launcher. And if their policy isn't that, they don't have to worry about that. So like there's all sorts of benefits, scummy and practical, to having your own launcher. But I think finally these companies are realizing beggars can't be choosers. If you don't have the player base, if you don't have people willing to use your launcher, just go to Steam where the players are. Players are on Steam. They will buy your game through Steam because it has protections, because they trust it. Just do that. AC Shadows has faced numerous setbacks and issues over the course of its development, including content leaks. Originally planned for release in November, it was delayed till Valentine's Day and then delayed to 20th. Shadows also arrives during a pivotal moment for the publisher Ubisoft, following several underperforming releases and worsening financial outlook. Ubisoft said in January it was taking decisive steps to reshape the company and actively exploring various strategic and capitalistic options to unlock the full potential of its assets. It's claimed that Tencent and Ubisoft founding Guillemot family are considering the creation of a new venture containing some Ubisoft assets. In VGC's Assassin's Creed Shadows review, they said it was excellent gameplay, compelling narrative, and massive, beautiful world to explore. It's so much better than we expected it to be. Even if it's not the game that saves Ubisoft, it did exactly what it needed to, bringing confidence back to one of modern gaming's biggest and most troubled franchises. Yeah. So all told, it apparently, in terms of the financial performance of it, it's doing quite well. You know, the player counts we can debate because player counts don't tell you a lot. If you gave away 500,000 copies, it doesn't mean anything when you say we had 600,000 players. Like, it's not as remarkable as it sounds. But the revenue numbers are what they're describing in this VGC report, which Insider Gaming did not have access to apparently. And the revenue stats put it above Odyssey and behind Valhalla, which actually tracks with the player counts we're seeing, with Shadows having already surpassed 2.2 million players after just 2 days, with Valhalla hitting 2.5 million on its first day, based on the data that is at least public. So it, again, just seems to be outperforming Odyssey. It's not on the level of Valhalla, underperforming Valhalla, but that is not really surprising. Valhalla was quite the exception. But just another piece of the puzzle there. But again, we'll find out the details, I think, probably in May when they have their next big earnings call, when they describe all of this stuff. And it's during that time period where they probably restructuring stuff like that. I don't think they've sold 3 million copies. No, I don't think anybody's said that they have. Oh, are you having lag? Yeah, it looks like YouTube had a little glitch out. We're back. Yeah, I didn't have any frames drop. It looks like it was just a YouTube thing. That's weird. Let's see. Keep in mind, Shao's need to sell 6 million copies even on low end. Yeah, and right now, if it keeps on the trajectory it's on, it will sell, or it will engage 6 million players by the end of the month. A lot of Assassin's Creed games don't turn a profit for like 6 months to a year, sometimes longer. And like Alan Wake 2, for example, a game many people praised and love, is it reportedly not even, it hasn't even broken even to this day. I think the article I saw was it was close to breaking even back in November. So it might have broken even by now, but the article we looked at on stream said back in November it was close to breaking even, like 2 years after launch or a year after launch, whatever it's been. So it takes time. It has broken even now officially. Okay, good for them. Turn on the ray tracing for that. You might have to refresh. If it's being weird for you. Let's see. Yeah, we back now. Stream lagged a little bit. Yeah, okay, I think we're back. Okay. I'm holding you to 6 million by April. Now, what Insider Gaming reported is that they said, based on the current trajectory, they are headed towards 6 million players within a month. That's where they're headed to. Now, the trajectory, as all trajectories tend to do, could flatten real quick. Word of mouth is typically what will do that. Like if they right now are tracking up this way, and it's like, oh, if we extrapolate, oh, they're gonna hit 6 million. Wow, that's true. That's where you could project it to, but that's not always how it goes. It could be, or maybe even the projection is like, it's gonna drop off a bit. Even if that's the case, and this is like your 6 million number, it could also just plateau. This is what happened with Veilguard. So Veilguard started kind of strong, but then word of mouth, once people finished it, was dreadful because people were like, oh, the first 10 hours are pretty impressive. And then it just nosedives. And so once people finished it, the word of mouth got really bad and it just stopped selling copies. Like people just stopped. So just because the trajectory is currently looking like it could head up this way does not mean it ends up going there. It just depends. Word of mouth for Shadows has seemingly been pretty good, but we'll see. Of course, like don't count your chickens before they hatch. Dude, YouTube knows me so well. They just know what to recommend to me. This video is called Driving to the Banana Store. And it's just an orangutan driving to the banana store. Like, how does YouTube know that this is exactly what I want to watch? It really is impressive. Oh man. Top comment. Okay, this was funny. Top comment. At this point, I'm convinced they don't talk just so they don't have to pay taxes. Dude, I love apes. I love monkeys. They're so cool. Oh man. That's funny. It just knows me. It knows me. Classic. Yep. Oh man. Yeah. Veilguard got positive scores from medium players. Well, they were very selective with reviewers. So already people were kind of like, why are we being so cagey with review scores and stuff? But you know, with all these games, it just takes it takes a bit of time before you can really get the full picture. And with Shadows, what I appreciate is that they gave reviewers like 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks with the game, and we were able to test it. So like initially we played it on GeForce Now, and then we got to try it on our own gaming PCs, our own consoles and everything. Review codes were very accessible, so if you wanted to try it on consoles on multiple platforms, you could. And I think that's a good way to just be totally transparent. Give players enough time to really test it and give access to a ton of people, so you get the wide swath of opinions and perspectives on it. Some people will love it, some people will hate it, but you at least get the full like painting, the full picture, you know. And with Veilguard, it was like polar opposite. And you looking back on it now, it's clear that they were trying to kind of hide parts of the game from people they thought would call them out. That's at least what it seems to be to me. I'm not sure if there's a more innocent explanation, because it seemed very coordinated and timed that way, but yeah. Yeah. The live action skit with Troy Baker. Yeah, I did see that pop up. It's the PS5 date reveal.
Nolan, buddy, I got your super urgent text.
Troy, please, have a seat.
New room?
Yes. I broke in about an hour ago. We don't have much time. Since taking on the role of Indiana Jones, you're now on the cusp of being brought into a very exclusive club.
You said cusp.
We have a few questions, of course.
Sure.
What makes a great adventure?
It's about being prepared. Like, you'd be surprised at how often a whip comes in handy.
I doubt that. How are you going to deal with private military forces with just a whip?
You know, use the old...
Headbutt. I like it. Aggressive. See, I'm more of a sidearms kind of guy.
You would be.
Jeans. Henley.
Somehow always half-tucked.
Of course.
Of course. What about finding ancient artifacts?
Yes. Sold to the highest bidder.
Donated to museums.
Sold to that museum.
Going somewhere unexpected.
What is an adventure without going somewhere new? Trey?
Troy?
Troy? Welcome to the club.
Copyright struck. It's cute. It's cute.
Done
Hold on.
Yeah. How many fingers did you have before?
That's cute. Okay, real quick. Am I the only one that finds it kind of... This is cute. Again, this is cute. But I feel like this is the type of announcement you do if we didn't know it was coming to PlayStation 5 before. You know, like if they had never revealed that it was coming to PlayStation, yeah, you put a lot of effort into the announcement it's coming to PlayStation. You drop this and it's like, ooh, wow, it's coming April on PlayStation 5. Wow. But like we already knew. So like this big reveal feels kind of like, Yeah, we know. You know, I don't know. It just I get it. The club is like, I think the implying that now you're gonna be on PlayStation, but he's been in Naughty Dog games with Nolan North. So like, I don't know. It's the same thing as when they revealed that it was coming, because Jeff on stage is like, and there's one more thing, and it was that it was it was coming to PlayStation. Everybody already kind of knew it. I don't know. It's funny to me. It's funny to me because I feel like they're acting like it's a way bigger moment than I think most people are looking at it as. Oh, baby. Dude. Okay. We're going to talk about this real quick, but I just want to be clear. Okay. New segment. So we just got the poster drop for The Last of Us Part 2, Season 2 on HBO. And, you know, so the posters, I think they're fine. They're fine. But some of the responses are mean, I will just say. And we're gonna be mature together and not laugh because they're mean. It might be hard. It might be hard, but we're gonna do it together, okay? So I looked at it again. So first poster, and then I'll show you how people are being mean. Bella Ramsey as Ellie. Okay. Pretty standard picture, title card. I don't find Bella particularly intimidating, but that's fine. Pedro, Daddy Pedro, of course. Caitlin Deaver as Abby. I think that's a solid poster. But just the Bella one, okay. Again, we're going to be mature. And when we look at these photos, we're not going to laugh. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's not. I'm not laughing. I'm not. You can't get me to laugh. You didn't get me. Nice try. Nice try. It's not funny. They have a bunch of other ones. Isabella, Young Rutina, Gabrielle. Gabriel. I know how to read. I said Gabrielle, and then I saw the mustache. I was like, Gabriel. Wow. I know how to read. Catherine O'Hara, of course, the queen. Jeffrey as Isaac. I can't believe I just said Gabrielle. I just read that and said Gabrielle. Wow. Anyway. They've released these. I'm thoroughly I can't look at that poster, man. I can't. I gotta scroll down. I think that this is probably like I'm buckled up. I'm braced for them to do a lot more transformative stuff. I think they're really going to be much more. I think they're going to rewrite stuff. I think they're going to change a lot of stuff. I think they're going to try to like really restructure bits, because they've already said like Caitlin Deaver, of course, not buff, not shredded like a gorilla like Abby was. So they're changing that and how it's presented, because they said that the reason Abby was like a bull was because of gameplay. They wanted Abby to have more melee capabilities, to be more about overpowering enemies. I think it's also because Neil likes his muscle mommies, which is fine. A lot of Neil's games have muscle mommies in them. That's cool, dude. No judgment, but like, let's be real. Let's just be honest with ourselves. So they've changed stuff there. They're adding in characters that were not previously in the stories. They're adding, or they were in the stories, but they weren't really explored. Like Bill's whole episode was added to the show, the season 1, and I thought it was a really great episode. I thought it was a good episode, and it won Emmys. It was highly awarded and lauded. But the point is, they're willing to add stuff. They're willing to change stuff, and they've already said they're going to change and add stuff in season 2, and that season 2 will not cover the whole story of part 2. They probably go into season 3, maybe even season 4. So I think there's a strong possibility that they probably have changed what happens with Joel. I think the broad strokes are still there. I think all of that is still there. But I do think that they're going to shift it in terms of timeline. Maybe they go back to the drawing board, add in some of the stuff that they cut from the game. I think that they will go and probably change a lot of the pacing. I think they change the structure. I don't think there's a high possibility that, for example, they do like half the season following Ellie and then half the season following Abby, like the game. I think they mix it together much more. And I don't envy them. I think it's a nightmare of a game and a story to try and convert to TV, because the game was written and built around this simple idea that you play half of it with Ellie and then they flip perspectives. You play as Abby, and then at the end you're like, oh, everybody sucks. That's the whole premise of The Last of Us Part 2. Like, that's it, beginning to end. That's the whole idea. And the TV show doesn't work that way. You can't just have season 2 is following Ellie and season 3 follows a totally different cast in a totally different place in the same story, but doing different things that kind of overlap. I don't think that works. Maybe they do that. I don't think that's a good idea. I'm not sure if that's a great idea, but maybe. But I think that they restructure a ton of this. I think it's going to be very different from the game. I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to be reinventing, restructuring. I don't know. I think they're going to do a lot more. Too stretched out. I mean, it's only like 6 episodes, right? It's not that many episodes. So I think it's going to be much more narrow. It's going to be much leaner, much more focused. And yeah, I think it's going to be a lot different. Who cast Bella as Abby or as Ellie? I think Bella did a really good job playing, in my opinion, I think Bella did a really good job playing Ellie in part 1. I don't know how this converts into part 2, because Ellie in part 2 is a murdering psychopath. Like, she's crazy. And that's part of it, is that she's overcome and overpowered with rage. That's the whole premise of the game, is this hate and seek for, this desire for revenge. Bella Ramsey is not an intimidating performer. Maybe this is the role that changes my mind, but Bella Ramsey does not instill fear, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think that's fine. Not everybody wants to be or should be intimidating or scary, but I think that part of that edge that Ellie has in part 2 is just not there with Bella. But we'll see when the season drops. Maybe they blow me away. Like maybe the whole season is reinvented in a way where I didn't see it coming, and we're like, Neil, Craig, everybody that worked on this, you guys are brilliant. You blew me away. I don't know, but we'll see. It comes out in just a handful of weeks, so just feed me Fallout. Last of Us 2 is a lost cause. When is the next season of Fallout coming? When is season 2 of the Fallout show coming? 2026. Ooh. They began filming in November, and they're expecting a release of the next season sometime in 2026. Possibly August. Dude. That's too much. I understand it takes time, but still. Where was I? The physical copy of Concord that I bought for the meme arrived. I'm going to display it on my wall to commemorate the largest flop in gaming history. Dude, I'm kind of jealous. I still have it installed on my PlayStation. I don't know what to do. There's no reason for me to keep it installed, but I don't want to delete it. Like, you can't launch it. You can't do anything like that, but it feels weird to delete it knowing I can never reinstall it. That's next year, Luke. Yeah, but by the time Fallout Season 2 launches, it will have been like 2 years since the last season. I understand it's next year, but it's already almost been a year. Let's see. Someone said if Harvey was still around, this never would have happened. Oh my God. I think I saw that comment too. That is a take. Limit Breaks. Lady Kestis asks if Nikki was going to play Enzoy. I threw it out to her. I'm not sure. If I remind her, she might try it. I troll the trolls. Thank you for the 5. Every game's concurrent players will drop when GTA 6 releases, even Monster Hunter Wilds. Players are fatigued of mediocrity in a bunch of different gaming genres. Well, I think players are frustrated with shortcomings and things being pumped out too quickly, and then also they I think GTA 6 is just going to be one of those big cross industry games, cross media games. Like, I think it's just going to spread far and wide. Yeah. Will you be checking out First Berserker Kazan? Yeah, I have a video planned for it, so I do plan on making a video on it. I'm not exactly sure when it will time out, frankly, because there are a couple of other contingencies that we're like waiting on. Again, it doesn't make sense. I'm being very coy, but it's because the video that we're planning to do relies on a couple of other pieces. So, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. Okay. Well, fam. I am going to, I think, call the stream there. I went far longer than I thought I would, but I'm going to call the stream there because I don't want to push my voice too much and I can feel it starting to go. So we'll stop there. I will be back hopefully Wednesday, not sick, and okay, but we shall see. Until then, we should have some videos coming out, rocking and rolling. As always, thank you guys so much. This was like an incredibly supportive stream for whatever reason. Must have been the shirt, which you can get at the links in my link tree, I believe. It should be, pretty sure. It's also, I think there's a merch shelf on the video too, if you really want. Yeah, Luke Stevens merchandise. Yeah, on the link tree, it's there. Hype makes you stupid. There you go. Boom. So yeah, if you want to do that. Also, if you want to just go to the website and play with it, look, you see, you can like click these. It's actually kind of fun. Like make your own little webs. It's stupid, but hey, if you're going to go to a merch store, you should at least have like a mini game built into the website, right? Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Anyway, we're going to call it there. Much love, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. You guys are amazing. Much love. Stay safe. I'll see you soon, okay? I'll see you soon. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.